Okay. Okay, perfect. Hey, Firelina, if you're still here. Good to see you. Just gonna give people a few minutes to come in. Hey, Art, what's up? So give people a few minutes to come in, of course. Why do I got a cough now? I didn't have a cough earlier. Annoying. Yeah, I'll give people like 2-3 minutes, and then I'm gonna check the questionnaires. I don't think I got anything this week from people. Yeah, I got nothing. Okay. Okay. See, what have I done here before? I'll put that there. I'll put you over here. What's going on? Okay. Excuse me. Oh. Hey, wizard. No, this is not Neo 3. This is most definitely not Neo 3, okay? Alright. Well, alright, it's been a few minutes. So I was checking the questionnaire. I got nothing submitted in advance, so I can open the floor to anybody who has questions or curious about something. Like, now's the time to ask. I'm basically giving you guys free coaching. I normally charge 100 for this. 100 per session with my clients, but it's much more personal. It's not going to be as like um, internet streamy culture as it is here. But if you guys have any questions, like feel free to ask, or if there's something came up, that's something that you find interesting, feel free to chat about it. It's not just, it doesn't have to be just about self-esteem. It could be relationship stuff if you're curious about it, want some greater understanding. That's what I try to help people out with. It means you fixed all of us? Ah, yeah, fixed you guys for free. Don't need a therapist. You don't need that. You just talk to some guy on the internet for a few minutes and all your problems will be solved, right? All of them. I'm mostly here to listen. I went through a lot of treatment for borderline personality, which has a key feature of issues with interpersonal relationships. So I learned a lot of interesting things there. You know, it's interesting you mentioned that because I actually was checking out a book meant for individuals um, who are trying to treat their BPD. And like, I'm curious about a lot of things psychologically related. So I went through this book and I'm like, let's see how much of this applies to me. Because I'm just curious. And after a certain point, I'm going through it. I'm like, wait a minute. There's like some permutation where I could I could be like, yo, I have BPD, maybe a lesser form of it. Like I was self-diagnosing, which is totally improper. But as I was going through this workbook, I just thought like how easy it can be for people to dismiss other human beings by saying, "Oh, that person has BPD." I'm like, sure, people who have a borderline personality disorder might um like they might do behaviors that others can consider crazy, but it's not like their behaviors have logic to it. Not necessarily the strongest logic, but it's like some of the stuff is kind of understandable. It's like, oh, they had a really broken home where a lot of extreme things happened. I'm like, okay, that's the environment they grew up in. It seems like then they just adapted to that. Like, I don't know. It's not like that crazy to me. Like, apparently, one key feature for those who have BPD is this fear of abandonment, for example. And then usually the behaviors they will do, unfortunately, can make it worse because people will leave them naturally. And it's like, I'm like, okay, the problem isn't their fear of abandonment, it's just the behavior that they will do. I'm like, sure, there is like it may not be helpful in healthier relationships, but like in dysfunctional ones where it's like, hey, I have to go to extreme measures to make sure my natural caregivers or my parents will be there for me. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of makes sense. And then, oh, okay, a lot of unhealed trauma, and then that plays out in their relationships. I'm like, yeah, that's how it works. And then I started thinking, I'm like, wait, it's like I understand in certain contexts the stuff is obviously a major disorder, a major like problem, but in some of these crazy environments, I'm like, I don't think it's that much of a disorder as much as just an adaptation. So it actually makes me want to be curious about the criteria for a diagnosis. It brings me back to like some let's see. So I'm gonna Google this real quick. It brings me back to like psych, it's some of my early psych classes when I was taking high school, where it's like, what is a disorder? Right, like what is a mental disorder? No, I do not want some dumbass AI interview or some stupid shit. Okay, let me get the World Health Organization thing up here. Which I will consider to be relatively reliable. If you append dash AI to a Google search, it'll stop doing that. Okay. I'm gonna need to figure that out too. Thank you for the tip. Nearly 1 in 7 people live with a mental disorder? Yeah, I know. Yes, I'm also aware of this. Okay, how do you diagnose? No, these are the types. I don't care about the types. Oh, dear Lord. So wait, how does it work? Like that? Is that what you mean, Art? Hey, Triggy. Yeah, I'm doing well. Okay. Thank you, Art. I appreciate it. Okay. How does the DSM-5 classify disorders? Anyway, I don't remember, but exactly. So I guess the question is, so we got a couple of questions. Got a lot of questions coming up. Let me address them. Um, didn't know you streamed on Twitch. I only watch your YouTube videos. Yeah, I'm doing pretty well, Tricky. So Tricky, let's see. It was cool to see you in one of my friend's streams last night. Ah, nice. Yeah, I stream on Twitch and YouTube, both places. I haven't met anyone with BPD, so don't know much about it. Is it like an umbrella term for all kinds of mental issues? No. Borderline personality disorder is very specific. So I'll use the National Institute of Mental Health, which I would consider to be reliable. So borderline personality disorder is a serious mental illness that affects how a person feels about themselves and others and makes it hard to function in everyday life. The disorder often involves difficulty regulating emotions, leading to impulsivity, an unstable or often changing sense of self, and troubled relationships with others. Effective treatments are to manage the symptoms they're available. So, um, so for example, Wizard, from what I've known about, let's see, some symptoms could be like they do things, from what my understanding of it is, like someone will do things. Oh, they actually just tell you here. They often experience intense mood swings, uncertainty about how they see themselves. So again, like their sense of self isn't internally really that formed. Their interests, values, and feelings can change quickly. So who they are is not a static concept. It is constantly changing, but it's like it's to an extreme level. They also tend to view things in extremes, such as all good, all bad. So someone can swing from like really, really happy to really, really like extreme closeness to extreme dislike based on like small things. It almost can seem like they're explosive in nature. So here are the common symptoms that people have. Now, one thing I want to say about borderline personality disorder is that diagnosing somebody as BPD should be left to the experts. As you can imagine, people with social media and whatnot can easily diagnose people without any actual scientific like bearing to it. They're like, it's just like people calling each other narcissists. People who have like, it's easy to label somebody as a narcissist, but you know, they can't diagnose them as that. It can get messy fast, and people can say, oh, this person was being explosive in this one situation, therefore they have a disorder. It's like, no, that's not how it works. It's much more complex. So I hope that kind of makes things make a little bit more sense. People can have you can have a high sensitivity to rejection. Right, and Wizard, you're touching on it. It's weird because all these symptoms feel like they can be just normal behaviors or specific disorders with different names. Feels like a misleading name, I don't know. Right. Most of the time in your life, you probably have never really encountered someone with BPD. Usually, the key word being disorder. When it comes to things being a disorder, it has to be like incredibly dysfunctional. Because all of us can have, we can, like, I worry about abandonment. I'm pretty sure other people do. Sometimes we can jump into certain relationships quickly, but the context is important to understand. Maybe we have shitty family relationships. It doesn't mean we have a disorder. Right? We all have had issues with our self-image, I'm pretty sure. We can feel like all of these things are like, yeah, I can relate to that. But there's a difference between that and like a disorder. A disorder is serious. Like it's causing serious harm, serious problems. Not like I've been diagnosed before, like many years ago, with major depressive disorder, major recurrent depressive disorder. And it's like feeling sad, like people feel sad all the time. But I was at a disorderly level because, like, I just was fucking everything up. There's like a normal spectrum of how human beings will address things, and then there's the more disorderly side. Like it doesn't fit. It like I forget the criteria for disorder, and I was trying to look that up, but it's basically like it needs to be out of the ordinary. It has to be creating serious problems, and I forget the third thing. But there's a whole criteria before something can be a disorder. So it's pretty extreme. Going to feeling depressed versus having depression are two very different things. Kind of like, when you get sick, everybody gets sick and they bounce back. But then, like, if you wind up in the hospital for a prolonged period of time, it's far more serious. BPD is kind of like that and as are all the disorders. So, okay, let me catch up with some chat things. Art was mentioning I'm in Canada, so I don't know if it's also called a DSM-5 here. Is that just psychology standard everywhere? I believe so. I believe so. Am I a med student? No, I'm a self-esteem relationship coach. And eventually I would like to become a therapist. So me understanding what therapists work with, such as BPD, which is very common in my line of work, having that information would be very valuable. Yeah, I'm hoping to be able to get into school for counseling in the next year, or at least the year coming up after that. All right, so Chicken Burrito, you have some issue talking with some people that feel offended for some imaginary group's sake when they're not in the conversation. It seems to me they got nothing else to make them feel righteous. Maybe it could be that reason. Before making that conclusion, though, all I would say is just try to understand where they're coming from and like make sure they're like, yeah, you got where I'm coming from. Because otherwise, if we're making conclusions off of faulty data or incomplete data, they're probably not going to make the right conclusions. All right, Odie, you asked me a question. Just curious, do you remember what I told you? What happened to the company I worked for 8 days ago? Yes, if I'm not mistaken, you were about to retire or get 3 decades of work, and then I think they went bankrupt, and then they had to let you go or something. But then you're able to find something else, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. So Art, what I learned too was emotional dysregulation. You're at an 11 when you should be at like a 5. Right. Yeah. Some of the stuff you're talking about, Art, and some of the newer concepts about DBT overlaps with what I do for work. Okay. So tricky, you never did. I knew someone who was manic, but I don't know if that's borderline personality disorder. If someone has a manic episode, again, people can have a manic episode for various reasons, but it turning into like full-on mania is a whole different thing. And not to mention having bipolar disorder is a different matter altogether. Again, the criteria for disorder are pretty high. You don't need doctors if a random stranger on the internet can diagnose mental illness. I know, right? Do I go to a therapist or psychiatrist for a diagnosis? Psychologist or psychiatrist. Therapists can't officially diagnose you unless they have that official psychology degree. If I'm not mistaken. Let's find out. Can therapists diagnose mental disorders? Well, I don't see anything super definitive, so I'm just gonna say no. I guess it depends. Varies by state statute. Okay. I would just say if you really want to get diagnosed, go to a psychologist. I did, at least. It's when you feel those things to a level that makes you behave in ways that cause a lot of problems. After a year of what is called dialectical behavioral therapy, I feel like I have a superpower. Yeah. That's really big, actually. I might as well talk about that because that stuff is related to what I do for work as well. I can't give DBT or even CBT to clients because I'm not a therapist, but there's a significant overlap. Actually, I'll bring it up. So one of the theories of emotion, I don't know if will this be decent? Screw it. Where's Wikipedia? Hold on. Perfect. Cognitive appraisal. Perfect. Well, I'll talk about this. This is kind of what I work with. It looks really complicated, but it's not that bad. It's not as bad as it looks. Chicken burrito. There's a weird culture that some people feel like they'll get special treatment if they have some mental illness. So they're very eager to come to the conclusion that something is wrong with them. I mean, some people are just entitled. It's not a disorder. They're just per se. Some people like the spotlight. I mean, understandable, but whether it's a disorder, I can't necessarily say. It would just depend how dysfunctional their life is. It'd have to be causing them harm. And yeah, some people want to feel like the spotlight, and I can't diagnose people based on that. Because the way that I'm taking that message, Chicken Burrito, is it's just like, hey, if I have this status, then I will get more attention, which I think anybody can relate to. Insert status, I get more attention. Feels great. Or at least more positive attention. Now, obviously, going down saying I have a mental health problem. And having that be the way to get attention is unfortunate. But I will at the very least agree, yeah, it's kind of weird. So Odie, you vented to a few friends. 1 week later, you got a few job offers. Nice. Now you don't know how to decide. Nice problem to have for once. Hey. Well, hey, congrats. Yeah, Odie, take your time. I hope you find what's best for you. So Art, you were saying usually they'll point you to a few people. The process is very rarely just talking to one person. I think we can agree that learning to have our emotions under control can help with our relationships. Yes, absolutely. That actually overlaps pretty much 100% with my work. I try to help my clients understand how to regulate their emotions, understand themselves more. And the big picture really is just about having them understand what behaviors of theirs are actually self-sabotaging towards their long-term goals. And so that gets interesting. Before I get onto that, though, and start doing stuff in Canvas, let's talk about this, because a lot of my work is based upon, like, I found inspiration from this. What's the process like when you went for a diagnosis? For me, well, the first time I got diagnosed by my doctor back in 2022. But more recently, when I was diagnosed, by the way, I got like post-traumatic stress disorder. But when I was diagnosed with that, I had a lot of it was correlational. A lot of it is correlational, but for things like PTSD, like, I mean, you can't like definitively say in my brain that this specific marker in me makes me have PTSD. But usually for mental disorders, there's a lot of behaviors over a long period of time that have been established that would correlate with that. So a lot of it was interviewing, a lot of it was diagnostic testing. So like I had to basically take like, I don't know if you're in America and you're familiar with the term Scantron, but like I had to take tests, a lot of cognitive tests about certain concerns. And these tests are meant to also test to see if I'm bullshitting as well. So certain questions will be asked in specific ways to be able to tell, are you just fucking lying? Because some people do. For the same reason that Chicken Burrito is saying, like, oh, like if I have a mental disorder or mental illness, maybe I can get insert social security benefits. Okay, great. They can play up a diagnosis when they don't actually have anything. So I had to take multiple hours of tests across multiple, I think across like 2 days. The psychologist also looked at a bunch of my medical history as well. You know, because even if I can put on a perfect performance today, they're gonna have to see whether or not like actually have that trend. So yeah, so I think the oh yeah, now I think I remember the three major criteria to diagnose to consider something as a disorder. One, it has to be creating a lot of dysfunction. Second, it needs to be happening for a while. And third, it has to be something just well out of the ordinary. Without those three strong things, it's not a disorder. So if you're, for example, like heartbroken over a breakup and you're super sad and depressed you're feeling sad and depressed over it for like a month or two, but you're, let's say, still able to go to work and just do your general functions, but you're just like sad about relationships in general, that's fine. It's like normal. That's not a disorder. Or let's say someone that you love dies and like you have some intense reactions after the fact. Most of us would say, well, yeah, people generally have intense reactions after the fact because that's pretty serious. So it's not necessarily a disorder. Now, the disorder might come into play depending on what ways they act out and for how long it lasts. But they're like, it's pretty strong criteria. So for me, when it came to being diagnosed with the disorders that I had, it was very dysfunctional in my life, like incredibly dysfunctional. It was also pretty serious. It was well outside the norm, and it had lasted for a long time. Therefore, based on that, they were more likely to diagnose me with a disorder in the first place. But even with that, I had to go take like a bunch of tests, get interviewed by my psychologist multiple times. And then, only then, he was like, you meet the threshold for this. And on top of that, my psychologist got information directly, not just from me, but also asked like, hey, I want you to give this questionnaire to someone else that knows you well. So I was like, okay, I gave it to Cass. And then like Cass and I rated me like kind of similarly in similar capacity. I'm like, wow, like she knows me to the T, like down to the scores. So you passed the tests. What prize did you get? I got a diagnosis. It was a great time. Hey, you know how you feel fucked up in the head? Well, we have a diagnosis for that, bro. So I hope that makes sense, Surfy. So okay. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about my work. And this kind of overlaps with what Art was talking about with dialectical behavior therapy. We have the Lazarus's cognitive appraisal theory. So the idea is pretty simple, which is we have an environment, life stuff happens, right? Shit happens in life. But then the big part of it is how we perceive it. What is the information that we're selecting? How do we interpret it, in other words? And this is going to depend upon the person. But how do we feel about it? It starts to go a little deeper. So it's, again, the interpretation of the stressful event or the stressors. If it's a positive thing, there's no need to stress out about it. Oh, great. Something happens. Oh, yeah, I won. Great. I feel good about it. All right. No need to go into stress levels or cope or whatever. But if we perceive it to be some sort of threat, right, or it's a challenge, or even something challenging, or there's a threat or a harm, then we'll go into another layer of like, oh, like, can we handle it? If so, great. If we can't handle it, shit, now we're stressed. And then how do we cope with this stress? Well, change how we feel about it, or try to change the situation itself. And then that's when we can start to grow and learn. So let's put this in context for Neo. All right, when I play Neo, I'm playing Neo. I have all the things I think about it, and let's say I'm fighting a boss, right? Fighting the boss. First time, I'm like, oh shit, it's a boss. Challenging time. Am I capable in beating it? Do I know how to beat it? Am I at energy enough? If so, great. I'll do fine. But if I'm not, and let's say I'm dying a lot, oh shit, what am I gonna do? Change how I feel about it? Or maybe change the way I engage with the boss? I try to change something. Now, if I can cope with it and overcome it, great, I learned something, which is what I try to tell people, what I'm going to be telling people in my Neo 3 Academy videos, which is going to be, hey, like, here are some things you can do. You can change your mindset, of course, or change the situation itself with some skills. And prioritize learning, right? And then, of course, what will happen over time is, sure, it might be a challenging boss, but you'll be good, and then no need to stress out about it. Now, what happens to my clients more often than not is they're not able to cope. They're stuck in stress, and they're like, oh shit, I can't actually cope. Fuck, I don't know how to overcome it. I can't change the way I feel about it because it's so damn stressful, because now there's another layer where now me feeling this stress, I don't know how to deal with my stress. Right? My own stress is now a threat to me. I don't know how to deal with it, stress more. And it's like this rapidly accelerating stress loop over and over and over again until someone combusts. Or they just, like, they can't cope. They can't adapt. They can't grow through it. They can't learn through it. So, stereotypical example for my clients. They'll be like, oh gosh, my partner's leaving me. All right, my partner's leaving me. This is stressful. They're taking some action. They're like, okay, I want a divorce. That's not something you're going to feel good about. And they can try to ignore it, but it's pretty dumb. They're like, oh shit, this is serious. And so what they'll do is they'll think, oh, okay, I got a strategy. Let me try my strategy of, like, begging my partner not to leave, even though they're dead set on leaving. And it might work for a little bit. Usually some manipulative bullshit, promising to change but never actually do. And they'll make all these promises and it'll work for a little bit. And then what'll happen is, well, the partner will realize that nothing's actually changed for their benefit. And so they leave. And so all of a sudden, now the client is going through this loop already again, or this path again. And then they try the same things that they've tried before. They don't fucking do shit. And their partner's just still leaving. And so then they get stressed the fuck out. And then they keep trying. They keep getting stressed and stressed and stressed and stressed. And they promise everything. And then they, like, get upset and, like, just lash out in all sorts of ways. And the partners keep leaving. And they start to feel hopeless after a while. Because it's like, nothing that I do is making it better. And then they try to, like, change how they feel about it. Maybe you've heard it, like, oh yeah, just feel better. She wasn't good for you anyway, type of deal. Or just like, oh, maybe the way I cope with it is I find another. That woman wasn't good for me. Let me just find that I can get over my ex by getting into a new relationship. All right, so they try that coping. They attempt to cope. And then they learn all sorts of things. But the problem is their method of coping is very self-sabotaging in nature. So what will happen inevitably over time, if they haven't addressed the problems they have in themselves, is they're going to keep experiencing this shit over and over again. They're going to keep, like, relationships going to keep degrading no matter what, because they haven't fixed the problems they have with them themselves, which caused their partner to leave them in the first place. And so they keep going through this loop over and over and over again. Stimuli the grandma needs to insist to redeem the card. Right, okay, that's a good example. The whole do not redeem. Right? That guy kept losing his shit. Because he's like, oh my gosh, the grandma's redeeming more cards. Oh no! Gets so stressed. And he gets, like, so broken and dejected. And it's like, yeah, bro, this is gonna happen to you. So, right, like, this is what I deal with my work. What I try to help my clients do is to help them understand how to manage their stress in a very healthy way so that no matter what, they can not only handle the stressors, but they can go more into, oh, things are nice. They can have fun, they can be happy and all that. Not super complex, maybe, but it's not as hard as it sounds to me anymore. So yeah, that's kind of like a snapshot what I deal with. And it doesn't really matter, like, to put it in simple terms, you know, yeah, we got this whole thing, right? The whole coping. Coping relates to helping my clients establish healthy self-esteem so they can be competent in their relationships and therefore can also feel good. The more competent they become, the better they will feel. As both of these work hand in hand, of course their self-esteem is going to increase because they're actually good at relationships. And they can recognize, here are some healthy types of relationships for me that I will be happy with and never have to worry about like crazy shit again, both for myself and for my partner. And let me recognize unhealthy dynamics that I can just stay away from. And then they will be good. Anyway, snapshot of what I do. And a big part of that is kind of what Art talked about, is learning how to control our emotions. So with that, what I also do is help people understand less about controlling emotions directly. I think DBT probably touches on that. Let me see if I can get some different diagrams. Okay, so here's like another theory of emotion that I work with, right? Let me see. Let me find theories of emotion. No, not effective computing. MCAT content grades. Oh, perfect. We have a bunch of them. Oh, yeah. If you like take any psych class, these are common ones. The James Lange theory, Cannon-Barth theory, and Schachter-Singer theory. Like, that's pretty straightforward. So you have a stimulus, you have an interpretation of that, and then you're like what it will cause in your body, and then what you'll feel as a result. Right? Like, those are the common theories of it. I generally go with I think my work kind of goes with the Schachter-Singer two-factor theory. I think especially for those who might have more disorders, I mean, or even myself. But here, all right, let me blow this up. Yeah, that's great. I don't care. What was I gonna say? Yeah, I don't need this theory of emotion. There's already plenty of stuff. Yeah, so I generally ascribe, I think these theories of emotion are very helpful. Reynoji, I'll get to your question. So stimulus. So as I was talking about with my clients, oh no, my partner, okay, partner says I want to get a divorce. All right. Their interpretation is, oh fuck, oh shit. And the oh shit is, and the interesting thing is, the interpretation is the issue here. What I try to help people is with their issue. But naturally, most people would be like, oh God, my partner wants a divorce. Oh no, insert everything I'm scared about when it comes to divorce. And then I feel, right, like I feel a certain, my body starts reacting a certain way, I can't help it. And then I notice like, oh, I'm feeling stressed about it, or I'm feeling anxious about it, or I'm feeling whatever about it. And then sometimes what can happen is when we're feeling stressed, we can start to perceive, oh shit, I'm under stress. And then sometimes our perceptions can be like, oh God, it's bad to be stressed. And then like, it can be this crazy panic loop that happens in like 2 seconds. And so it can go out of control in that regard. So that's why I generally prefer that as opposed to say like, I prefer the whole loop as opposed to just, oh, it's just like a clean and cut thing. So what I try to help my clients do is rather than as Art is talking about. Art is saying, hey, don't try to suppress your emotions. Think more about how you perceive it and the behaviors that you do. Yeah, exactly. Think about, and as DBT will talk about, think about like the ramifications of it on future thinking and future behavior. So how you perceive it is very important. Right. How you perceive it is important. What you do with that emotion is important. Because of course, understandable, if your partner gives to you like, oh gosh, I want to leave you, your interpretation could be like, oh shit, I'm going to lose the love of my life. Right? Now, what my clients do is they become entirely self-focused. They start to go into a very, very selfish interpretation line of thinking. And so like, oh, what about me? I lost this. Oh, I don't want to lose this. I don't want to lose that. And the entire time they're ignoring an entire way of thinking, which would be helpful, which would be like, oh shit. Like, for example, let's just flip it. If they're like, oh gosh, I'm going to lose everything in this marriage and I have to do what I can to protect myself because insert chain of interpretations, which makes me more and more selfish over time, is to be like, hey, oh gosh, my marriage is falling apart. That is scary. Okay. I am afraid. Now, in these moments that I'm feeling afraid over this, what should I do? I should think about, well, let's first try to figure out why my partner wants to leave so badly, and let's understand first. If I'm so terrified, if I'm so terrified of my partner leaving me, then gee, I don't know, I should like see what I can do to make my partner happy. And maybe that should have been my default. So let me take her seriously. Let me understand her. What are the reasons? And then once you get a broader understanding of what's going on, you usually are more equipped to actually solve the real relationship problems. Most of my clients don't get into that space. You know, I basically have to coach them to be like, hey, stop being selfish. It's a very crude way of putting it, but I'm like, stop being selfish and think about what your partner has actually gone through. Before saying, oh, well, she's leaving me. And like their coping could be like, oh, she's leaving me because she's a bad person. I remember one client I used to, in my previous job that I worked with, he was like dead set on trying to prove that his ex-wife, who I think was getting remarried or something, dead set on proving that she's like a bad mom because she doesn't care about the kids or something like that, and she's living her free and best life or whatever. And I'm like, yo, your choice to think this way and to act out of it, assuming your wife is fucked up, like, how is that gonna want her to want to interact with you at all? Hey, honey, you should come back to me, and I'll call you a bad mom who doesn't care about her own children that she gave birth to. But he was so fixated on his own conclusions, his own interpretations, he didn't budge. And so, of course, he didn't succeed. But instead, if he had rather, like, so as Art is talking about, I'm not going to tell the client to, hey, change your emotions, change the way that your body automatically feels. Like, it's really fucking hard. And if you know anybody who's been through extensive trauma, for example, their default is to suppress their emotions. But like, suppression of an emotion doesn't mean that the emotions aren't there. You just don't know about it. We can turn a blind eye to many things, but we're just blind to it. It's just operating in the background without our knowledge. But rather than trying to fix the emotions to be correct, I'm just like, let's just change the way we think about things. We can do that anytime. That's what conversations are about. That's what dialogue is about. That's what therapy is about. You go to your doctor, for example, and you're scared as shit about a certain symptom you have. You get guidance from your doctor who is able to change the way you see the situation so you have a pathway to actually be able to deal with whatever illness you have. I'm like, oh, there is a way to deal with this. Okay, great. Now I'm not as stressed. I just follow this protocol. I follow this process. I'll be fine. As opposed to, oh shit, everything's the end of the world. The interpretation changes into, oh, this is manageable. Boom! You feel loads better. It's the same, and you do better, and you actually do helpful things. Like, doesn't it feel fucked up at that moment? You feel insecure about your wife, you immediately call her a bitch. Yes, chicken burrito, you'd think that. I have to educate my clients about stuff like that. Because they will believe it's justified. Because like, oh, my wife did this, she was totally a bitch. Oh, she cheated on me, she's absolutely a bitch. I'm like, okay, how is this actually helping you reconcile? Let alone you being a good person in any relationship, period. Like, if you think your wife is, like, so animalistic and messed up that she'd, like, dump in a 20-year marriage for a fling, then neither of you are good for each other. If you think that poorly of her, and you're jumping to that conclusion well before even understanding her, or trying to understand her, I'm like, oh, this ain't gonna go well for you. And then they're, like, double down and like, well, I'm right, I did everything perfectly. It's not me that needs to change, it's that her. I don't deserve this. Like, they go with, they latch on to certain interpretations, which if you were to see these clients in like a more objective light, you're like, whoa, this doesn't make sense. Their interpretations and their perception of situations is very misguided. I think I mentioned this before, but like, I had a former client of mine who, he was like, oh, I bet my wife who wants to leave me, she's probably like out there sleeping with other men and cheating on me. And I'm thinking, like, what evidence do you have? He doesn't have any. But then I come to learn he starts saying that because he's cheated on his wife multiple times. And I'm like, so you had an affair on your wife or you cheated on her? He's like, oh, well, no, technically it wasn't cheating. It wasn't an affair. And I'm like, okay, you had sex with other women and you were married. Right, it's projecting. Right? And then he's like, oh, my wife is being too harsh on me. Yes, I know, I was really toxic to her. I was a terrible husband to her, but she shouldn't be doing this to me. She shouldn't, like, not open up to me. She should be opening up to me and telling me all about her feelings, even though she specifically said she doesn't fucking want to. And I'm like, bro, what level of denial do you got? And then it's like, and then it's not even just problems in his relationship. I also come to learn he got fired from his job because he has like a huge ego with his boss because she's a woman. And then he has to like have might is right, like he has to like project whatever sense of strength he has to feel strong rather than like working with his boss in like a respectful, equitable manner. And I'm like, whoa, this is seriously dysfunctional, dude. We gotta change this shit. And then like he doesn't want to because he wants to hold on to these interpretations rather than suffer like this blow to his ego. Because I don't think he recognizes just the sheer amount of damage that his current perceptions, interpretations, and resulting behaviors are actually having. I don't think he's recognized that yet. So, Wizard, I'll answer this question, but then I want to talk about attachment theory because that's a very interesting thing to discuss as well. How do you tell the difference? Because cheaters also suspect you of cheating because that's how they are if they just feel insecure. So it's a good question. Again, the way to tell the difference about like what's going on is just to try to understand and ask. Because for example, someone who has been repeatedly cheated on, and let's say they're blameless, all right? And it's like they've dated people who like use them. Or like a bunch of liars, right? Like we know people who are like, oh, they're genuine victims. Like the people themselves who've been cheated on, it's like, well, they're actually like really, really nice. And like I've seen how they are in relationships and they definitely don't deserve this, right? And so they're scared that, oh no, the partner that I'm with now will cheat on me. I don't want that to happen again. And so then they can act out of that insecurity. Right. So to be able to make that conclusion or that determination, first I would have to do some digging to really understand where they're coming from. The thing is, you may never 100% fully know whether someone's cheating on you or not. That is unfortunately life. Someone could have the perfect, absolute, do everything. Like, I've heard of stories where there'll be some guys who will do everything perfectly so that their partners never suspect that they're cheating. Never. And then the woman will realize at some point, in somehow, some way, out of the blue, they're like, oh, your spouse was cheating on you for like 10 years. And they have like a second family. And then the wife's like, what the fuck just happened? Like, what? You know, and it's a complete shock. They never caught it. They never noticed it. They never, because they trusted the other person. Right. And so, like, it's a big shock to them. So they obviously couldn't tell the difference. But generally, a way to inoculate against that, to protect yourself against that, is to just be as understanding as possible to the other person, just as a default, regardless of what they do. Just try to be an understanding person, and more often than not, you'll be able to create more trust, have more emotional safety in between the two of you, so that the other person wouldn't even think of it in the first place. Now, in that whole second family situation that I'm talking about, like, again, someone can lie about everything perfectly, but usually when you are intimately attuned to somebody over a long period of time, you can tell if something is off. And another great way to tell is to see, hey, how do the two of you handle conflict? Or how do they handle, hey, if you bring up your own insecurities about certain things, hey, like, I'm worried about being cheated on, not because of you, but just because of my past experiences. And you talk about that, how, again, do you resolve any problems you might have? Does it feel like over time things are getting better and better? Then you have less of a reason to worry. And hopefully, eventually, through resolving lots and lots of problems together, there'll come a point where you never have to think about it anymore. You can rest fully secure that, oh, my partner is going out of town. I don't have to worry about shit. Not only that, when they come back, like, I can tell that they're totally into me. Even though I've had so many insecurities, or I've had so many doubts, they have proven to me time and time and time and time and time and time again. No matter, like, it doesn't, the level, like, we can just handle anything together. So there has to be a line between blind trust and wanting to know exactly what the partner's doing at all time. I feel like you should be able to be fine with being honest, even if you don't have anything to hide. Yeah, that's a thing, Wizard. Obviously, like, having to be insecure, like feeling insecure about, I don't know if my partner trusts or is going to cheat on me or not. That's not a fun feeling to have that uncertainty. But the question is, with that uncertainty that is there, the question is, and the conflicts that come from that uncertainty, are they being addressed in a way that is slowly improving things over time? Are you doing your part? Is your partner also reciprocating? If that is making things feel much more stable and certain over times and safer over times, eventually you won't worry. But in my experience, most people generally just want to have a pretty stable relationship, even if they have baggage. Deep down, I'm pretty sure everyone just wants to have like nice, happy love. All right? Not have to look elsewhere, not even have to think about it. I'm pretty sure a significant proportion of the population just wants to have like easy like monogamy. Deep down, all right? But the problem is there are issues in the way of that. So if you can deal with those issues, not really a concern. And more often than not in my line of work, what I will tell my clients is, look, let's just get you really good at this and being super good in relationships and build your self-esteem anyway, so that, again, you can pick the healthy relationships for you. Because you'll know, hey, even though I have problems with such and so a person, about insecurities I have, past experiences I have, I know I can resolve it with this other human being. And it will get better because I have a definitive amount of evidence, and it's not blind trust. It's not like, oh, I'm just like discarding all of my fears. It's just willy-nilly. It's like, no, the reason I can do that is because I have fucking proof. I have proof and I feel better. And it's a healthy relationship dynamic. I don't have to blindly trust. And I don't need to like check in on my partner all the time. I can trust them. And it's earned trust. That's the operative thing there. It's earned. That's what I try to help my clients do, is to earn what they are aiming for. Because then it's in their control. So then it becomes no worry. It's not really a concern. Think about it. If you and your partner could talk about everything to do that has to come up with cheating and affairs and infidelity, and be able to resolve any insecurities both of you have about it, anything. I'd like to think not have to worry anymore. For reference, Cass and I have conversations that I think for many others might be considered pretty challenging. And we can have these challenging conversations in like a very calm way. Like very chill way. Okay. Like for example, I've asked her stuff about, like, I can talk to her about, like, I don't need to talk to her about this anymore, but I'm like I've asked her, and we've had a conversation about like why she divorced me in the first place. And what went on with it, or why she's hated me, or why she doesn't trust me. No big deal. If she were to tell me, yeah, I don't trust you, my response will be like, I'm like grateful. If anything, I'm grateful she's able to be open with me about it, and I'll be understanding in return. I'm not threatened by it. So as per the theory of emotion, she's telling me something which could be considered tough for some people. Like, oh, I don't trust you. I don't like you. I don't want to be with you. Or, you know, she's told me this multiple times, which is like, I don't want to be in a relationship with you ever again. I'm like, okay. Sure, that stings a little bit, but I'm like, what's the bigger picture? She is sharing something with me very precious. Right? She's trusting me with how she honestly feels. I'm like, oh, that's actually really sweet. That's my perception of it. I'm like, wow, she's trusting me. And I'm like, you know, that's actually really important for a relationship anyway. May I ask why you guys still live together? Because we're best friends. Also helps financially. There's a lot of history with it from my family side that I won't get into. Yeah. But think about it. We are roommates. I have expressed my feelings to her. She does not share them. And we get along just fine. Think about that. Think about that disparity. I've told her, I'm like, yeah, I want to be in a relationship with you. I feel very strongly for you. I love you. I care for you. And she's like, well, I don't feel the same way. And then she would say, I feel uncomfortable with you feeling that way. Like at first, I'm like, oh shit, I don't know if I can feel that way. I'm not allowed to, but insert, like, I do feel this way. And then, like, I talked to her about it. And then I understood the deeper reasons why she was threatened by me feeling a certain way for her. I'm like, oh, okay, I see what's going on. Oh, okay. So it's not really about my feelings. It's what I used to do with them, which was really shit. I'm like, okay. Talked about it. We resolved it. Great. We feel more comfortable. We can talk about things with each other. So my relationship with her, while not romantic, is improving. I'm like, great. I'm doing things to improve my relationship with someone I love and care about. Okay, cool. Keep doing that. Let me just enjoy the journey of life. Hooray! So being able to resolve those types of things with her obviously brings me a lot of peace, because I'm like, hey, all this tough shit that I used to stress out about before is no longer a threat. Great. I can now, let's see what happens at the next level of difficult conversations and the next level, and keep going from there. So to transpose this to the whole cheating thing, imagine if you are able to have progressive conversations where you are slowly reestablishing trust, a sense of emotional safety with each other over time, so you can address anything and everything related to that topic. Do you think you're going to have to worry about it at some point? I'm guessing no. Because you've already done the work of creating that trust and safety between each other in the first place. That's just my opinion about it. Okay, so I do have to get to the attachment style stuff, which I'll talk about. Let me get attachments theory ready. God, I hate AI crap here. Oh, it's not attachment theory, it's attachment styles. Attachment in adults. Can I have a diagram, please? Give me a nice image. Hi, can you play Neo? Not today. Okay. Do you answer questions on the spot, or is this like a Patreon goal? It's not a Patreon goal. I'm answering currently today. I'm currently answering questions on the spot because I didn't get any ones submitted in my form that I post on YouTube. But yeah, like, so there's that. So chicken burrito comment you made. Doesn't it feel fucked up the moment you feel insecure about your wife? Oh, never mind. That's different. I heard some hilarious cases of the girl getting mad at the guy because he cheated in her dream, and the guy just feel like, I'm done with this girl. Right. In those situations, of course, like, I know it can be funny, like, oh, this girl like experienced that and her reaction was a bit like wild. In those situations, when someone does something that seems out of the ordinary, the first thing I'm going to try to do is really understand what's going on. Like, okay, like, and not that I don't agree with her behavior to get upset at a guy like over that per se, but I'm going to try to understand why. Like, there's several things I'm going to try to understand. Why was it that, hey, she had a dream? Like for example, one thing could have been, oh, the love of my life cheated on me in my dream and I'm really, really stressed about it, right? And rather than me being very vulnerable about it and talking to my boyfriend about it and just saying like, hey, I'm scared, I don't want this to happen, I'm really afraid, like, can I get some comfort, you know, and having like a nice bonding moment. Instead, she lashes out at him. I'm like, okay, what the fuck is going on? Like, why is this happening? You know, I need to understand that. Could it be possibly that she has issues? Obviously. Is it that he's done something to warrant that? Who knows? Maybe, right. It could be like maybe she flipped out because she already had past evidence that he was cheating, or he has done it before. Then it's like, well, fine. It's like her having the dream about it triggered her and she's pissed off about it because she hasn't been able to work through with it. Maybe because the guy like hasn't resolved it with her. I'm like, okay, I mean, that's kind of understandable. Right? That's assuming, and that's, again, I don't know if he's guilty of some shit or if he's innocent, but either way, at that point, where the fault lies is kind of immaterial. My first instinct is going to be, let me just try to understand what's going on first. Only when I have the full picture will I start being like, hey, I'll ask, like, do I have the full picture? Do I fully understand where you're coming from? What's going on? And only when that full picture has been established, then I'll start to say, okay, let's try this. And then if they say no, then I'll be like, okay, maybe I need to understand more because I thought that solution would work. And then I'll like go from there to try to like resolve it and figure it out. Okay. You're debating answering that form, but chose not to in the moment. Fair. Yeah, you can still ask questions here today. Okay. Yes, Tolly. Sorry. No Neo today. Neo will most likely come tomorrow. Saturdays are the day I do stuff like this. All right. So, Reinu Nuji I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm gonna say Ray. Ray was asking about some validity to attachment styles. I think there is some value with the attachment style theory, um, but I wouldn't use this as a way to be dismissive about certain types of people. Ideally, we can be in the secure attachment style, but just because someone's say, like I've heard like, oh, anxious and people who are anxious and people who are avoidant, what is this? Nice typo. Um, can never get along because they're too different. That's not the case. People can have different attachment styles, they can work out just fine. Is it common that clients A and clients B story are too different? You have to guess who's lying. Generally I don't work with couples, but at that point my interest is less about who am I going to believe and whether or not both people are operating by their own beliefs, their values, and their standards, and whether they're working out with one another. Whether both of them are trying to like come from a place of trying to resolve conflicts together, or if they're just trying to like, or if they're just going to keep fighting. The details of the story are not as important to me as much as what clients will do across situations. If their way of being is healthy, should be fine. My clients generally do not have healthy ways of operating. So, okay, back to the attachment style stuff. I certainly think there is some value to this, but it's not an end-all be-all. Because I've heard of relationships even with two people who are both in the anxious relationship attachment style. And one person might be more anxious than the other one. And then the one who's more anxious will just say some toxic things or whatever, and then decry the other as actually an avoidant. And then the anxious person's like, oh my fucking god, no, I'm not. But I would say for most people, more often than not, we all probably fall on a spectrum somewhere in here. There's moments I'm sure we're all afraid of being left alone, of being rejected. Sometimes people can get way too close to us way too quickly. Right, and then it's like, okay, I'm not ready to commit, like I'm closing myself off, right? I'm not ready for this yet. You know, someone comes onto you too strong. We can relate to that. Or someone who like doesn't text you for like 3-4 fucking weeks, or like maybe they do every now and again, like, yeah, this will play this up. Or maybe we've been burned a lot, right? And who knows? And then of course with some healthy relationships and we have a good time, yeah, we can feel totally secure, not even have to worry. It just depends. But I wouldn't say like, oh, you're like, just because say you're an anxious attachment style, which I've fallen into, that I can never get along with avoidance. No. And usually the clients that I work with, if they start typing people in this way, I notice they tend to be like, oh, well, it can never work out because she's avoidant. And I'm like, bro, you cheated on her. Of course she's gonna avoid intimacy and vulnerability with you. She doesn't trust you. Oh my god. Is today all about relationships, like couples and attachment style stuff? That and self-esteem as well. As per the title, I'm a self-esteem relationship coach. Right, chicken burrito. Oh god, they're trauma dumping and bringing the fight to your place. Right. And that doesn't have to do with attachment style either. The way that I use attachment styles in my work is to, like, let's say they can identify someone's being avoidant. The first question I'm going to try to figure out is, well, why? What is going on? What is the reason that they are being avoidant? What is the reason someone's being anxious? Most of the time, from what I see, the people I work with are much more on the anxious side. Or at that point, they're like super, super anxious, or they're probably like flip back and forth or some shit. They'll be like totally crazy, frantic, stressed, like going in loops, and then they'll like completely check out and like go back and forth just because they're not getting what they want. But the way that I feel about it is rather than focusing so much on anxious or avoidant attachment style or secure attachment style, I generally go with the theory of emotional safety. Assuming I can type this right. See if I can get an image for this. I don't know if there's a good... Okay, whatever. I'll just use Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I think this will work decently enough. No, what is this shit? Just want this diagram, bro. The way that I put it, so I focus on, okay, so for relationships, like, basic physiological needs are necessary, obviously. Some physical safety needs are important too. And then all the relationship stuff I start to see goes up here. So if you feel like you can have best friends, if you can have nice intimacy, if you feel like a sense of family, a sense of connection, which is, what people ask for, if you can feel respected, have self-esteem and all this stuff, that's like, you'll be fine. You'll be happy with your relationship. And that's pretty much what people are looking for in my book. But as per the theory of emotional safety that I'm talking about, when a relationship is emotionally safe, the partners trust each other and routinely give each other the benefit of the doubt in questionable situations. When emotional safety is lost, partners are inclined to be distrustful, looking for possible hidden meanings and potential threats in each other's words and behaviors. So if you feel safe with somebody, so as Wizard was talking about earlier, you don't need to question them about anymore. Oh, are they going to cheat on me or not? But for that to occur, you need a lot of emotional safety. A lot of mutual understanding. A lot of conflict resolution needs to go well. If you're constantly stuck in like the fight or flight, you're fucked. If you're constantly scared, then by definition you don't feel safe. So if you and your partner create enough safety for each other, it's all good. But yeah, this is generally what I work with, the emotional safety model of couples therapy. But I work with one client to do that. And I find when the concerns of the avoidant or the concerns of the anxious, once they are both able to feel very comfortable, all the problems that you might have with any of those typed as these is irrelevant. It's like, oh, they're anxious and they need validation a lot. Oh, well, you make them feel safe. So they don't even have the need anymore. They're secure. Someone's avoidant, doesn't like that you're getting too close to them too quickly. They need their space, and you respect their space. Okay, they know that their concerns are being heard, being understood, and being validated, and you're working with them. Okay. Well, then they know their boundaries are being respected. Great. They can trust you more. They can rely upon you for support. Conflicts are being resolved. So it starts to siphon more towards secure anyway. That's what I work with. Okay, I would have a lot on the self-esteem thing that almost sounds like I'm looking for attention, but I'm not sure if it's needy. Okay, we can talk about that, Brendan, if you formulate a question. I can also talk about the difference between wanting attention versus needing it. So chicken burrito, I often care about my friends' feelings a little too much, and they told me I'm too anxious. So chicken burrito, I need more specifics, but I'm kind of curious, why do you care about your friends' feelings too much? What makes you say that? So 12-7, is this something you're studying towards or working for or something? Bit of both. This is what I do for work. I'm a self-esteem relationship coach. I have a few clients, but I'm kind of just doing it on a part-time basis. And then my goal next year is to get into a school to become a therapist. Because me saying, hey guys, I'm a coach. I'm a life coach. Pay me $100 a session and I'll help you save your marriage. Like, yeah, totally trustworthy. Am I right? Yeah, thank you, 12. So yeah, I do have a couple of clients. I have saved some marriages, and at my previous job, um, like I was a part of a lot, and I did get paid good money. Sounds great. Take my money. Yeah. So I want the legitimacy and the credibility that comes with actually having a license. Right now, for example, I can't take insurance. People have to pay me out of pocket. I'm not legit. I don't consider myself legit. I know coaches who make like a shit ton of money. Do you get clients who are skeptical? Everybody's skeptical. So you give discounts in the first meeting? I usually give people the first session for free. Try before they buy, and then if they want help, then if they like what I have, then they can sign up for more. And if they don't like it, they at least got some help for free. Okay. Like I would be worried about if I'm being too clingy. Do I smell bad? Did I do something cringe? Because I did make people feel uncomfortable before. Okay. What'd you do? Did you? Because it sounds like. Because here's the thing: if they're saying you're being like too much about these concerns, it makes me wonder if those issues have not been fully resolved. And I consider I learned my lesson, but sometimes I can correct myself. How long ago was this? But yeah, Triggy, I'm glad you're laughing. What I'm giving is like the equivalent of a masterclass, if you will. A free masterclass. Here you go, sign up, come to my free masterclass where I just talk about this shit. And if you want to like do deeper stuff, work with me, I'm here. So 12, you needed me 6 months ago when your 5-year relationship fell apart. Oh, I wonder if you don't know my background. I asked them too many questions and they got a little annoyed instead. Okay. But why? Why did they get annoyed with you rather than interpreting you as, oh, you're maybe just trying to get to know them better? Because to me, on the surface, oh, asking too many questions, I'm like, maybe it can be like mildly annoying, but if I think the person is just trying to do something for my benefit, and they're asking questions to be curious, then I'm not gonna really mind. I'm like, oh, that's sweet. Thanks for wanting to get to know me. Or if it's like, whoa, man, I don't want to tell you this shit. Stop fucking asking me. And then you keep asking. Ugh. Oh, you don't know my background at all, honestly? Yeah, my professional stuff is I don't talk about too, or I don't publicize too much of my YouTube stuff. My YouTube channel is just video game stuff. So for the last 2 years, I have been working as a relationship coach, and the clients that I coach are not the typical. They're not typical. The clients that I work with are those whose partners are leaving them, have already left them, or are in other relationships, and and the clients are trying to reconcile. So the clients that I have, usually the partners are having affairs. They are days away from divorce. Kids are on the line. And yeah, these are like super hopeless cases. Like the most hopeless. People are waiting till the last fucking minute to get help. The last possible moment for them to think about, oh gosh, like it's like no one wants to work with them type of deal. It's like, oh, well, I can't really save your marriage because you're getting divorced fucking tomorrow. Like those types of situations. The stuff that I think some YouTubers might think, bro, this sounds way too fake. For example, I've had clients, he cheated on his, there was a client that wasn't going anywhere, but this client cheated on his wife and when she was going through chemotherapy. Okay? That client, and this was at my previous job, that client was someone we took on. One of our clients, or our client's past job, he's in prison now, but he slept with his underage stepdaughter. Okay. He reconciled with his wife. That's like one of the craziest stories I've ever had. Right, exactly. Art's reaction is totally normal. Like what the fuck is this shit? This is crazy. Like, throw him under the jail. And what happened, his wife went from like absolutely hating his guts for every reason to eventually telling the judge, like, no, he's changed so damn much. And of course the judge is like, well, I don't care, he's still going to prison anyway. But his wife did a total U-turn over many years. Okay. Did you just threaten them both with guns? No. So my job is to help clients create such transformational change in themselves and in their environments that their former partners willingly come back to them, happily come back to them, and their relationship is just getting better and better over time. If you don't know my story, while Cass and I are not romantically involved, I'll just give some bullet points. She kicked me out of here, our shared home, back in late 2022. She divorced in July of 2022. She divorced me officially in September of 2022. So it was like, and oh yeah, she served me papers in June of 2022. I got kicked out in July of 2022. She divorced me in September. Then she blocked me for like 6 months and no contact. All right, nothing, no contact, nothing, gone. Fast forward to 2024. Well, I moved back in with her as a roommate. These days, her and I are best friends. And we have fun. And it's a great time. Like, I'm happy. And there's a lot of other details in between I'm leaving out. But I mean, she'll say like, yeah, you've changed a lot. You've changed dramatically. Don't say the no contact lasted 6 months. I'll start to get my hopes up. There's a lot of like, I help clients regardless of whether they've been blocked, whether their partners have found new relationships, whether they've been divorced, whatever. It doesn't matter what happens. In fact, one thing I tell my clients is like, focusing on all these details is immaterial anyway compared to what the work we need to do here, which is what will help you save yourself and your relationship anyway. Give me a moment 12, because if you're going to go to a story, I want to make sure I can give you full attention on that. Let me address what other things chat is saying before I get on to you. Is that all right with you? So, like, I want to go full into that, but I want to make sure I've addressed everything beforehand. All right. So give me a bit. Let me catch up with other people. Okay, so we also got Brandon. Brandon's asked me a question too about, I have problems with self-deprecation, anger problems, at least at home, and self-doubt. I start shouting and shutting down when I get frustrated. The only answers I get are, don't get angry. Am I clingy? Is there something else going on? Something else going on for sure. Brandon, I want to make sure I go in order so I don't have to like keep scrolling up. It helps me. Okay. So you're feeling angry, all right? By the way, anger is a very normal and healthy emotion. It is part of the human experience. Not getting angry isn't the issue. The issue is what you do with it. As you mentioned, let's see. Shouting and shutting down, right? Like, they're not helping. What we need to be able to do is to understand what is leading you to feel angry and what you can do about that accordingly. So tell me, what do you get angry about? Just one example. And you don't have to divulge more than you're comfortable with. While you're typing that out, yeah, so I'm going to deal with that. While you're typing that, I'm going to try to address a chicken burrito statement real quick. Okay. The reason is they are fine with me originally. Everything was okay, but it gets a little weird when you act so insecure. Okay. So if they are fine with things now, the question I have for you, chicken burrito, is what are you so worried about? Making a mistake again? And so if that's the case, what I'm wondering about is what mistake would you make that you feel insecure about? If you are making those mistakes, what can, and if you're worried about them, like for example, I think you were saying what is your definition of someone being too cleany? Can you self-determine if you're smelling bad? Because we all make mistakes, right? But my thing for you, I would say, chicken burrito, based on what I understand, is are you, like, if you were to just look at your own behavior in a vacuum, how is it? Is it appropriate? Is it good in your opinion? If someone did that behavior to you, would that be all right? Like, do you actually smell bad? So rather than relying upon other people necessarily to tell you all these things you might be worried about, I would first ask you to check in to see, hey, like, to the best of my knowledge, to the best of my ability, am I doing these things I'm worried about? Am I actually doing it? I say that because what I wouldn't want, like, I've been insecure many times. Like, I've done this with Cass. I've been like, hey, I did this, I did that, I did this, I do that. She's like, no, you're fine. No, you're fine. No, you're fine. It's okay. And then sometimes she's like, sometimes it gets a little annoying when I have to reassure you. But when I dig deeper into that, there is a deeper problem that she has with me. And then what I'm able to do is resolve it with her. What I would encourage you to do, chicken burrito, is to, one, see if you can understand where they're coming from when they express their concerns, and also see if you can understand where you're coming from too. And figure out what sort of things you can do within your control that can make things better. So for example, I was saying, hey, like self-check, like if you actually smell bad. But if you're like, hey, I actually think I smell fine, I think I smell good, then just roll with it. Now, if someone then all you have to do is just wait and see if someone tells you whether you smell bad. You've done your part. You're like, hey, I've checked, I've double checked, triple checked. I think I smell fine. Okay, it's a little weird, but not to check in with other people, but let me just see if they feel comfortable enough to tell me if I do smell bad or on accident. Or if they say, hey, you smell nice or something. Let other people give you the data and just be receptive to that data. That's all. But over time, you can develop trust. So I hope that makes some sense. Feel free to ask clarifying questions. Okay. So Brandon, so making mistakes, the feeling of how the mistakes or even the advice from family members not making sense to me, the feeling that these things just don't or can't make sense and I'm stuck in a thought that it won't get better. All right, there's several things there. You are mentioning you're getting angry because... Here, let's not use a circle. Not getting better. Or it's just permanent or no improvement ever, right? Okay, that's one thing. Naturally, if we feel like nothing's ever going to get better, then naturally our system's going to be like, hey, just fucking try harder. Right? And yeah, it's going to be frustrating, bro. And of course, we're going to try to use whatever we can to try to make it better. But the thing is, as you were saying, things don't make sense. Things don't make sense, and then we do what we are always comfortable with and trying to figure it out, and it just won't work. So the priority, if you really want to address your anger, in my opinion, would be... Oh, let me use a different thing again. I would say... Oh, I can duplicate this. Is try to make sense. Or just learn. So what are these things that don't make sense, for example? And for whatever mistakes you're making, can you learn from them? The way I see it is, hey, if you can learn what's going on, you can make sense of what's going on, then you can better understand how to actually do something for the future. Let me know your thoughts on that, Brandon. I'm curious. I think your system is telling this oh, chicken burrito, the smell thing I usually get my mom to help me. She's got a good nose while she describes my sense of smelling thing as near numb. Okay. But yeah, chicken burrito. See if you can find a way to adapt your routine so that you can work around some of those perceived disadvantages you might have. My sense of smell isn't the greatest either, by the way. But I lost a lot of it, I think, from COVID. Like how I can get advice from my family, it sounds like they just don't get angry in the moment. Okay, it just sounds like they don't understand what's going on. Just don't get angry in the moment, bro. Yeah, that's not how it fucking works. If I'm angry about something, just telling myself don't get angry, as you've already experienced, doesn't change shit. But the way that I find that I don't get angry about a lot of things isn't about suppressing my emotions. Art has talked about that. It's about how I see things and how I see the world. So, if, as kind of an example, let me get, what do I want to bring up? I don't want to do attachments theories. Okay, so here. Okay, you brought a personal example. When I was a boy, I used to get angry, but when I got angry, all friends left me, and that's how I learned to not get angry. Sounds like you just learned to shut down your anger, and suppress it, which is only gonna work for so much. Anger in of itself is a healthy emotion. So the question that I have for you is, what would you do when you used to get angry? Yeah, take your time. What would you do when you would get angry? Because my guess is when people get angry, the reason people are afraid of someone being angry isn't because of them having the emotions as much as what do they do with it. So if we're to bring this back to those who have borderline personality disorder, if we take a look here, I'm sure those who have BPD have very strong emotions. So there you go, Brandon. Shout about or throw things. Right. If you break things, people are going to be afraid of the breaking. Right? So if you break things, then yeah, it's not about you being angry per se. It's about your breaking things. So that's it. So the issue isn't about managing your emotions per se. I mean, but not like directly by like controlling your emotions, but how you perceive certain situations. So let's talk about gamer rage, for example. What do you get angry about in games and why? Right, it's impulsive. It's what you've learned, I'm guessing, on some level. Because I'll tell you, like, I play Neo, which is pretty stressful as a game, but I'm pretty sure, like, I think when people see me get frustrated, it's like super mild. And most of the time, I just have like a very stone cold statue face. I'm just like super focused and locked in the entire time. But just to kind of cement certain things about that, emotions in of themselves are not a problem. It's the choices we make that are the issue that we should focus on. Those with borderline personality have intense mood swings. All right? This is what they experience according to this on the National Institutes of Health. All right, their feelings can change very quickly. But that's usually not the issue. I wouldn't even if we pay attention to even how they label inappropriate intense anger or problems controlling anger, it hints at some really strong behaviors. Right? Impulsive or reckless behavior, spending sprees, unsafe sex, substance abuse, there's a lot of behaviors. If we're just feeling all this shit in our head and it doesn't actually cause any harm, no big deal. With my own marriage, which ended 4 years ago, Cass has mentioned to me more in the near present that her issues with me never had to, I was sad, depressed, right? I was actually clinically depressed. She didn't have an issue with me feeling sad about some of the shit that happened in my life. She was upset that I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't helping around the house. So and what happened was that because I would feel sad about things, because I wouldn't do anything to help around the house, all the workload that I was supposed to be doing just as a helpful husband, I just fucking didn't do it. She had to do it. So she got like double chores, and then I felt bad about it and I felt guilty about it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm such a failure, I'm such a piece of shit. And like I'm beating myself up because that's what I think I'm supposed to do. That's what I was trained to do. All right? Then I'd feel even more sad and more depressed. And she's like, oh my fucking God, can you just stop being sad and depressed? Because when I see you feel this way, insert, I have to deal with all this stuff and I can't handle it anymore. And like, I already have so much on my plate and you're making my life harder. And then when that message effectively leaks out to me in some way, I feel even worse. And then lo and behold, it gets worse and worse for her. So eventually she started to see, oh, he gets sad, insert bad things happen to me. But once I started to remove the bad things happen and that like I can be sad and depressed, but good things can still happen to her, then she's like, okay, I don't really have to worry about this shit anymore. This stuff is self-contained. It's not like bleeding over to me. So what I would try to do is to be like, all right, let's separate your emotions from your behavior, and things like cognitive behavioral therapy or dialectical behavioral therapy are meant to help you channel your emotions much more into a way that's actually much more productive. So I'll talk about that in a moment. It could have been anything. Can't beat a boss. Want to learn how to combo like your near example, just things that people say are normal problems. So, okay. All right, so I guess one question for you, Brandon, is if you make a mistake that other people don't make, how do you feel about yourself? What do you feel angry? Like when you see me, for example, play Neo, do you feel like, oh shit? Well, like, what do you think about? When you see my Neo gameplay videos, how do you feel? Like, list the thoughts that come to your head. And I'm also curious what you do when you experience those thoughts. No, Brandon does not need to punch himself. I do not advocate for that at all. Breathing exercises ain't gonna do shit. They'll help in the moment. But imagine if it's like, hey, I'm going through the most... Okay, all right, so Brandon, when you play... Let me ask you a different question then. Brandon, so you see my videos are motivational. Now, if you can't pull those off in your own gameplay, how do you feel about that? What do you start to think? Actually, not how you feel, but what do you think? I'm more curious about what you think. I assume there is some like, hey, I feel angry, or I feel frustrated, or I feel demotivated, or something. But I want to understand what your thinking is. Do you feel like you can do it? Do you feel like you could eventually do it? Do you know how to do it? So, Giuseppe, how do you control what choices you make when you're angry because it just boils inside? So, if you pay attention to the questions I'm asking about Brandon, what I'm really trying to understand is what goes on his head that makes him feel angry. Because the way that I see it is this, all right? There are certain thoughts what I would encourage people to do is not try to like stymie their anger and try to suppress it. Your comment didn't get said, chicken burrito? What? Let me check why. Dude, wait, you're a mod. It should have been sent. What the hell? The thoughts and perceptions that we can have about... So, okay. Let me get this. Can I duplicate? Okay, we can have any sort of situation, right? Yeah, that's weird, Blizzard, because he's a mod. I don't think it'd be filtered. Autumn Red posted a link yesterday, so that's very bizarre. Okay, so we can have any given situation, right? But really, the thing we want to address and to put our energy towards addressing. Okay. Okay, let me curve this. Hold on. Diagram. Oh, I'm an idiot. Hold on. Can you cooperate? All right, so what people usually try to do with their energy, whatever willpower, whatever they have, they usually place it into like into their emotions. But you guys know, if something hits you bad enough, you're gonna, as Brandon knows, you lose your shit. You can't help it. That's how people do. Oh, you're feeling angry? Don't feel angry. Just don't feel angry, bro. Don't get anger. And then, like, you inevitably blow up because you can only contain it for so long. Our body can only handle so much when it comes to our nervous system and feeling the way that it does. Instead, we don't have to worry about that shit if you change the way we perceive the situation. So when Brandon, you've noticed, hey, your perception is, oh shit, I can't immediately that I can't do it. I can't do it. Fuck. And I'm sure as soon as you think, oh, I can't, like, let's list out what are some of the things that pop into your head. I can't do it. Right? I can't do it. Which I think many other people would have when they see my gameplay footage. But what else? What does it mean that you can't do it? So you say, so what I'm saying, Brandon, is let's figure out what thoughts and perceptions that you have at large. And then if we address whatever's related to it, guess what? Your anger won't be that big of an issue. Or won't be a problem. All right, thanks, 12. I'll see you in about 10 or so minutes. So yeah, Brandon, any of the times when you're like, oh shit, I can't do it. Anytime you feel, or anytime that pops into your head, oh, shit, I can't do it. There you go, now we're getting to it. I can't do it because I'm incompetent. Look at how many thoughts and perceptions we have already. All right, I'm incompetent. I'll never learn how to do what I want, so... And this will last forever. So hold on, Wizard, before you get to that, because you're doing a great job of the next step. If it boils down to a job, I start to turn to isolation, I don't belong here. Yeah. So we already have, hey, I can't do it. I feel like I will always be unable to do it, but let me ask you a question. Why will it be forever? Why are you incompetent forever? Like, why does that come into your mind? Because right now I'm thinking, hey, if I felt this, if I had this in my head, I'd be like, bro, I feel really depressed. I can't do it. I suck. I don't know. Okay. Has anyone ever told you this in your life? That, dude, you fucking suck and you're gonna suck forever. Because, see, you can't pull off this insane, because you can't do this, you are incompetent forever. Has anyone ever told you that in your life? In any capacity? Different depending on the task? Just pick a strong task. Not in a serious light. Okay. All right, so when you experience this, what do you think about the game? Do you think the game is being fair? Let's go back to the Neo thing. Do you think the game is being fair or is it bullshit? All right, Brandon. So let's think about what you have with the game. So when you can't pull it off in Neo and you want to break a controller. Okay, you think, so could you, sorry, I asked like a few questions, so I don't know which one you're responding to. Is the game being fair to you? Or is it unfair? So just say Neo is fair or Neo is unfair. Triggy has already said Neo is bullshit. Okay, but you motivate me to try to see how it's fair. Okay, so here we go. It's unfair. Oh, bro. Right here is when I would start to get fucking pissed. If I'm incapable at doing something and I think the game is being unfair, oh my god, I'm gonna be like, dude, fuck this game. Fuck this game is what I'm gonna start to think. Fuck this piece of shit game. Yeah, Neo is bullshit a lot, right? Yeah. Neo is garbage. Groundquake 5 times in a row is bullshit. What is this Thunderbolt garbage and Groundquake? Human AI is such trash. Anybody can relate to that anger, right? Now let's put it in an extra thing, which can make this even stronger. Yeah, FromSoft games with the inaccurate hitboxes. Grab after I just got grabbed and waking up is bullshit. Yeah. All of us can be like, fuck this. All right. And now let's add into the other thing about, wait, someone can do it? So it can be done anyway? WTF? Right, and then you see my gameplay. Right? And it's like, wait, Poofer Llama can pull this off? Wait, how? How come he can? So here we go. He can do it. All right, let me add in actually another thing. He can do it, but I can't? I can't do it? And then we're on this big, like, we're in this big, right, someone can do it. Where did I go wrong, right? Oh, and then that feeds in once again into I can't do it. I'm in Kataba forever. Neo's bullshit still can be done. And sure, it's nice and motivating. Maybe he's, like, people will say maybe he's cheating or whatever. Not saying you'd say that. But already, we're at a loop, bro. We're at a crazy-ass thought loop. And that's not even probably the full scope what's going on in your head. All this does feeds that anger, man. It's gonna feed this shit until you explode. And then, you know, as you mentioned, you break a controller, for example, and then you see, oh shit, I broke a controller. I'm not calm. I can't keep my anger under control. You know, I feel like such a fuck up because I have these anger problems. Other people leave me type of deal. And I'm still dealing with this. And it's going on forever and forever and forever. But other people are having an easier life than me. No one seems to understand or help me. And I'm stuck in this loop. So yeah, Brandon, if I dealt with even some of that, as it seems like you're dealing with, you fucking bet I'm going to get pissed. Or if I can't afford to be pissed, I'm going to shut it down. Suppress it. So you've gotten more self-destructive with fighting games. So here's the thing. What I'm trying to paint here right now is that given what you're thinking, your anger is totally justified. It's understandable. Like, not your behavior per se. Like, your behavior I don't agree with in terms of like breaking shit, but that's separate. Right now I'm trying to validate your feeling behind it. The behavior is separate. But what we need instead is now to think about these things differently. Because the first thing that you experienced was, I can't do it. So we need to get you into a place where you can do it. Because in this entire thought loop, which just balloons your anger to the point that it makes you fall back on familiar behaviors that you're used to, all we need to do is just get rid of one link in the chain, which is, boom. We get rid of one link in the chain, which is, and then it should change. It doesn't even have to be that link. It could be that how you feel about yourself, the fact that it feels permanent, that things are unfucking fair. We change even one chain in the link, your anger will be managed just as a byproduct. Then, when you're faced with the situation again that would normally make you lose your shit, you ain't gotta worry about it anymore. And think about the number of different places where you being able to manage your thoughts and how you address moments where you can't do something, where you feel incompetent about things, where you feel like it might last forever, where something feels unfair, and then certain loss of confusion, and going back into this. Imagine the ramifications would be in your entire life from just being able to change your perceptions. And having something practically to make things better. So for example, for Neo 3, it's understandable you're going to be frustrated with stuff, because it's not like I've put out guides instructing people how I went from point A to point like Z with my gameplay. It's not there yet. It's not there yet. So I obviously have to teach you and teach people how to think about engaging with Neo. So for example, when I would create guides, I would say, here's how to do it. Here's how you can do it. Oh, you're struggling? Here are some things to do. Here's some practical things you can do to make an actual difference. So you can show yourself, whoa, I'm actually pretty competent. And so to tie into what Wizard is now mentioning, he brought up one very important thing, which was, Wizard said this immediately, which I thought it was great. So you know that feeling like when you make a mistake and you're like, oh shit, I can't do it, but Pooper Llama could. And like, I can't figure this out right away. Man, I'm incompetent. Wizard immediately jumped in. He immediately jumped in and he cut it off from right here. He immediately cut it off. He said, whoa, 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 hold up, bro, hold up. Hold up. Let me see if I can do this well. All right. God damn it. He was, he was trying to cut it off right here. Okay? And saying, bro, of course you can't do it. It's not that you're incompetent. It's like, bro, this takes a lot of time to learn. It's gonna take many, many hours. It's not an overnight thing. It takes a lot of practice. There is a lot of failure that's going to happen. And right, Poofer has thousands of hours in Neo. Bro, I've got 2,000 hours plus, I think 3K in Neo 2. I think at least 1,000 in Neo 1. Dude, I got 4,000 hours of Neo gameplay under my belt. And how much have you played Neo? Have you played it for several thousand hours? I would hope not. But I'm guessing no. Okay, I'll say I have 3K hours. I don't know. In Neo 3 alone, even with all my prior Neo experience, and even 400 hours later in Neo 3, I still fuck up. And what I'm posting to YouTube is like the highlights. It's not like if you watch my streams, I fuck up a lot. A lot. Nioh is a very punishing game. Wow, you got thousands of play hours. You must be godlike. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm thinking of that Bloodborne meme with the cat. The cat's like crying. It's like, no. So, right. So, Brandon, I'm not saying that that one thought would magically change everything. There's a lot that's going in with your psyche. Just knowing, oh, like that will cut off a significant portion of the loop, but obviously other things can, like, there's more things to this than I can possibly like describe. It's not just this, just to be very clear. But you can reduce, like, if you recognize, for example, oh, the reason I'm not getting it is because like I just haven't put enough time into it. And it's like, okay, well then what can I do? I put more time into it. But then putting more time into it isn't in of itself enough. I'm sure we know people who've dumped thousands of hours into Nioh, and it's like, bro, did you even get any better? like, I mean, I'm sure we know of like some cases of that. People who've put so much time into something, but don't really have much to show for it. Their competency could still be relatively the same. Which means it's not just about the time, but it's about the approach that we take towards learning something. Are we actually learning and growing from this experience? Do we see mistakes as an end-all be-all, as we're a fucking failure, or that, oh hey, there's something to be learned from this, and it's anything, this is a signal in a way that I can get better. And if I can learn how to get better, then guess what? I will be able to do it. I will obviously be much more competent. It's not going to be forever, because sure, it's going to suck for now, but it'll get better over time because I am constantly learning and practicing, upgrading stuff. That's what I do in Nioh. Right, Wizard. Yeah, I'm glad you caught that. That's the thing. That deliberate practice, really learning from mistakes, really understanding how to like learn in of itself negates a lot more. If we learn how to learn from our mistakes, we'll be in good shape. We can, and then one other thing, if the game feels unfair, I'll say maybe it is, but first, let's try to see what's within our control. What can we do to remedy the situation in a way that makes it better? What can I learn? What can I practice? What can I do? The more I feel I have things in my control, the less I feel like victimized by the video game. I don't feel angry if I'm like, well, if I can handle this situation. I try to say I can get better, it gets better in small doses, and then something happens and I spiral down again. So I'm not going to be able to, by the way, I'm not going to be able to like solve all your anger issues in like one stream. I don't know your psyche fully. Like, I can understand, okay, sure, sometimes it gets better, sometimes it gets worse. But again, dealing with our own emotions and being able to manage ourselves is a whole other thought loop altogether. It's a whole other thing. Being able to manage our emotions in a productive way takes a lot of time. And it does have its ups and downs. But the goal is to have those ups and downs steadily keep increasing. That's all. That is part of the process. Yes, there are, you have that it like, you've mentioned how you've had very strong anger issues for a while. And I'll just tell you, it's not going to go away overnight. The goal isn't for it to go away overnight. In the long term, though, you can make a significant impact on it. To the point where anger doesn't control you anymore. For me, my own self-development journey has been like for the last 4 years. Where I've gone from majorly depressed to like my doctor saying, dude, you're the healthiest I've ever seen you. Your health just gets better and better. And like my last annual physical. My next physical is in like 2-3 months. My health has been steadily increasing. My mental health has been steadily increasing. But yes, there was a very long time where I was very much sad and depressed, and it was overwhelming me. My anxiety was overwhelming me. My thinking was overwhelming me. But the more that I applied myself towards improving the way that I see the world, improving the way I see myself, improving my thoughts and perceptions, so that I could feel good with the way I was seeing the world, and when I could actually do good and see the results of what I was creating, whether it was in the short term or the long term, the depression shit just started to vanish. Let's put it in terms of another analogy. I'm going to liken this to being bankrupt. So you feel bankrupt in some way with your emotions. I don't have a quick fix to give you $1 million. What I can help you do is help you understand, and what I try to help my clients do is to help them understand the process to being able to make millions of dollars at any given moment. But being able to go from, and like with Neo, going from a quote-unquote noob to a quote-unquote pro player requires a whole journey. There's many different levels. Right now, you might feel like you're at level 0. Your next goal is to just get to level 1. Don't worry about getting to level 5,000. Go from level 0 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, and just keep trying to grow every day. Anytime you're doing better, acknowledge that you've done better and use that as fuel towards doing better next time. Anytime you make a mistake, shit, I made a mistake. I spiraled down again. Fuck. Okay? Rather than me thinking, shit, I'm just going to be destined to be this way for fucking forever, let's go back to how can we change our perception about things, and how can we apply the next step to do a little bit better the next day? Take it one day at a time. Just do a little bit better than the day you did before. And if you're not satisfied with how much better you did it, see what you can do to make it even more better. More better. Better, or I don't know. I still make mistakes. I still fuck up. You see this all the time when I play Neo. All the time. But I'm constantly analyzing. My emotional energy, so to speak, is much more channeled towards what can I do better? What can I do better? How can I do better? I want to figure that out like yesterday. Because the alternative is I don't get better and I could get worse. I want to be out of this cycle. I want to keep growing. I want to get better. And every time I make a mistake, it's about how can I do better? Shit, I made this mistake. I fucking hate this mistake and it pisses me off. I really shouldn't have made this mistake. And god damn it, do I feel like a failure on some level? All right, fuck. Well, I don't want this failure thing to bleed over into my life anymore. I want that shit out, so how can I succeed? What can I do to win? What can I learn? How can I eventually come back to this situation and be able to just knock it out of the fucking park? And that's where my energy goes toward. It's a journey. I try to learn from my mistakes because, yes, it pisses me off to make those mistakes. I feel bad about those mistakes. I don't want to make those mistakes again. So let me do what I can to figure the fuck out what I can do so I don't make the same mistake twice. That's all. That's all I try to do. Me making mistakes along that journey, as long as I don't make the same exact mistake, if I've made a higher level mistake, okay, I'm growing. Then that's fine. But if I'm making the exact same nature, the same mistake over and over again, that's a super problem that I need to really figure the fuck out. But like in Neo, I don't make the exact, there are moments where I make the exact same mistakes and I'm like, shit, I need to reevaluate because there's no growth here. There's no learning here. I'm just beating my head against the wall, hoping I'm going to improve, but nothing's actually happening. And I'm just draining myself and I'm burning myself out. That shit sucks. That's when I know I need to step back, reevaluate, get my head into the process of learning rather than winning. This happened the other day. I noticed when I was fighting Hiroko in Antiquity with cestices and axe. I noticed that like my flow wasn't as good as I liked. For me, I'm sure, like, for me, it was a mistake. It wasn't clean. I wasn't happy with it. I was upset at what I was doing. So what I did was I deliberately tried to understand and practice the cestices and fists, or cestices and axe. So then from there, I started to recognize, oh, these are the actual mistakes I'm making. I get it now. I see it now. Okay, now that I understand this is the real nature of the mistake I'm making, here's what I need to do instead. Here's what I need to practice instead. I learned from my losses. I learned from my mistakes. It was no longer I'm a fucking failure and I'm a piece of shit and I suck forever. It was I'm learning. Okay, great. Cool. I learned something. Wow, I overcame this challenge. And eventually in those clips, which I think are coming out in like a day or two on YouTube, I did pretty well for cestices and axe. Now when I look back at the footage, I'm like, I could optimize a little bit here. But again, I'm self-analyzing to discover ways I can improve. It's changed for me from, oh, these are, like, I don't even see it as mistakes anymore. Like, I'm sure they're technically mistakes, but I'm like, okay, there's something I can improve. Great. You're telling me I can make it better? Fuck yes. I want to make it better. That is like my obsession, to make things better for people and for myself. Yes, I want things to be better. I will do what I can to make it better. And I just obsess over that. I'm like, that is my goal, to make things nice and to make things better for things at large. Right. And certainly with my gameplay too. So how can I make my Neo gameplay better? So I will scrutinize. Ooh, I don't think this was that good here. Ooh, I think I could have done this better here. I think I could have timed that there. I think I could have done this here. I could have moved here. There's a lot that it comes to Neo, which is what I enjoy, because I always see like, hey, my gameplay can always keep growing. Shit, even more recently, I'm like, all right, ninja style. I can kill bosses with it very quickly because I have a pretty good understanding about it. And I use the big enhanced shrapnel bombs to like do a crazy amount of damage. But samurai style I can feel very safe playing it, but it's lacking the spice that I really enjoy. So more recently, I've been trying to understand, hey, what are some moments I should stick to deflecting versus not? Or how can I squeeze in attacks between deflects? And like yesterday, I pulled off some cool things. Against Hiroko, when he jumps in the air and does this big fire wave, I did Heavenly Strike and then Dancing Kick. And I'm like, oh, that's so cool. It's not just deflect to attacks. It's like, no, I comboed him in the air. That felt so good. Or maybe at some future point, what I could do is Heavenly Strike, switch styles and do midair shit. I'm like, that seemed pretty awesome to me. So room for improvement is what I look for. Or against Takeda Shingen, during some of his attacks, there's one where he like jumps. I'm like, oh, with sword, flowing shadow, sweet. I was able to land that ability in between his attacks, and then I have enough time to deflect. Yes! I'm like, that's so cool. I'm like, yeah, bro, let's go. Like, that shit is exciting to pull off. So rather than mistakes being like a death sentence, to me, they start to become opportunities for improvement, or opportunities for greater things. It's no longer a loss to me. I don't see it, oh, I lost and I feel bad. It's like, bro, I can make it better. I can figure this out. I can make shit so good. I'll stress out about it in the meantime, but all that stress and all that anxiety is channeled towards making it better. Learning, getting better. And I face that many times when I play Neo. Which is why when you'll see my videos from my first playthrough to now, there's a significant difference. But it's all been the same thing. Learning is going to involve fuck-ups. That's just how it goes. But my goal is to keep trying to learn something each time. Now, I'm guessing by the dialogue, Brandon, you don't believe it on some level. You'll hear give yourself some grace, but you feel like you can't. And I'm curious what you mean by you start doubting it. Everyone tells me loss is improvement. I start doubting it. It becomes an obsession. Okay, you don't believe it, right? So give yourself grace in terms of the feelings. Yeah, you really don't. Yeah, that's fine. There's some behavior, there's some shit I never give my grace towards. Never. I never will. Fuck no. If I do crazy shit, I'm not giving myself grace. I'm like, sure, I can understand why I feel the way that I do, but the behavior was unacceptable. No way. No grace. Oh, just be understanding towards why you did this emotionally abusive behavior to your wife. I'm like, fuck no, I don't care. That behavior was bad. To me individually, to me as a person and my emotions, sure. But behavior is a different story. Like if someone commits a crime, no one gives a fuck about, oh, let's worry about their feelings. It's not about that. It's like, you did the criminal act, get the fuck out of here, go to jail. Like that judge in that story I was talking about where the guy slept with his underage stepdaughter. With a minor. I'm like, what the fuck? All right. The judge is like, great. I'm glad you're feeling better and you've had this great, amazing personal journey. You still committed like the worst crimes possible, like ever. Not ever, but you committed horrible crimes. So prison for you it is. Great. If you've changed, then this should be like not a problem for you. You should accept the consequences of your actions with grace. Time to deal with it, motherfucker. Or something like that, right? Oh no, a rapist's feelings are hurt. Oh no. Like whatever, no one gives a fuck. So in the same way, it's not about the feelings, the behavior. Yeah, if there is behaviors that you're like, no, this is unacceptable, don't give yourself grace. I totally disagree about giving yourself grace on certain behaviors you know are bad. I sure as shit don't. I'm not gonna just like, if I was to be dismissive to Cass, I'd be like, Cass, kick me out. She said so as much too. Hey, if you were ever to revert to the way that you were, I'd kick you out. I'm like, good. Absolutely. You don't deserve that shit. If I was ever emotionally abusive again, in any capacity, even a percent, you're feeling anything remotely about that, I want to fucking know because I gotta stamp that shit out. No fucking way. Doesn't matter how I'm feeling. Feelings are irrelevant. But when you are learning and you're trying your best, just you can accept that you're gonna fuck up. It's inevitable. It's not, you're not gonna learn everything the first try. That's where I think it's appropriate to have grace. You will make mistakes as you are learning and getting better. As you are learning and getting better, you may not be perfect right away. Give yourself grace there. Of course, you're not going to learn everything overnight. The most important thing is if you are feeling so like bad about yourself is to do things that make you feel good, to get some wins. Brandon, I don't want you to keep losing. I don't want you to feel like you're losing in life, which is why I'm going to say, hey, let's focus on winning. How can we win more? Don't want you to be bankrupt. I want you to like at least get to middle class. And then get to upper class shit. I don't know. My analogy wasn't that great. So if you're feeling, hey, I'm just not good enough, and you won't improve, then let's counter that shit with evidence that you can improve by prioritizing, hey, I need to learn. Otherwise, and because your body is telling you something. It's saying, hey, I don't feel good enough. And I don't feel like I can improve. Okay, I'll be right there.
Right.
So yeah, if you don't feel like you're good enough, we need to disprove that shit fast. It's so strong in your system, and I'm guessing your body and your mind are so frustrated at yourself for not being good enough. So, and not improving. So let's do whatever the fuck we can to shatter that myth, shatter that belief. Because I'm guessing for you, Brandon, if you could demonstrate, so here, we'll go back. Let me go back to my whole self-esteem thingy, all right? Once you can boost this, your competence at stuff, which is what I'm going to say you should focus on, then your self-worth and your confidence will catch up. You won't even have to do shit. It'll just automatically just start to follow. With your anger, the more you're able to manage it, the better you'll feel about it, which will help you manage it even further, which will boost your self-esteem really fast. Now, so that's what I'll leave you with for now. My recommendation, yeah, like, legit, what I focus on is the stuff that's within my control, which is just getting more competent at shit. Getting better at Neo will make me feel better about myself as a player in Neo. Getting better in my relationship with Cass will make me feel better about it in the first place. That's it. I just try to do good and right things and figure out as much as I can. All my stress, all my anxiety goes towards growing my actual competence. In other words, you get good, you learn how to get good, you'll feel good. Really it. Trying to feel good about ourselves when we don't have the evidence to back it up is a lost cause. Eventually, if we are actually incompetent, our confidence is going to go crashing down. But you lead with increasing your competence, your confidence will follow. With me, I get better as a Neo player, and before I even consider, hey, I'm a good Neo player, usually other people tell me. It's usually what happens. But at that, I'm not looking for the external validation per se. Not that much, maybe like 5-10% of the time. But more often than not, I feel good about my work. But I just try to do good work first. I do a good job, I feel good about the good job, and then I feel motivated to do an even better job. And I feel better that I've done a better job. And then it just feeds off each other, and my self-esteem is going up sky high. What do I do when these adults try to help with advice? Just like, don't be negative. So, well, you can thank them for trying to help. That's the nicest way I can put it. Yeah, Wizard, it's bad advice. Just imagine telling someone who's like, loved one died, hey, just don't be sad, bro. I mean, like, what? Like, are you crazy? Yes, because the best way to tell people to resolve emotional issues is to tell them to just not have them. Or, hey, man, I know you're homeless, but have you ever thought about just buying a house and getting a job? All I would say is that's how it comes off. Yeah, it pretty much is. So these people, of course, mean well, and you can at least appreciate that they're trying to help. But that's about it. That's all I would do. I'm like, hey, thanks for the advice. Thanks, advice. I appreciate it. That's about it. But I only take advice from people who like actually know what the fuck they're talking about and are very qualified and have some demonstrated like track record of being able to address it. But all right, I need to go help Cass with some groceries we got delivered. Um, that's how it comes off, but also in a light where you can also get guilt trip because you might also hurt their feelings. So Brandon, if someone gets offended, you're not taking advice that doesn't apply to you. That's a them problem, not a you problem. But we can be understanding why they get offended, and it's really not us, it's them. That's all. So like, for example, if you don't take my advice, I'm not going to get offended. I'll think one of two things. Either the advice that I gave you didn't hit hard enough and wasn't effective for you. Yeah, it's usually it. And I'll be trying to think about what can I do to help Brandon more. I didn't do a good enough job to make it land with him. Then I need to figure out what I could have done to make it better for him. So I'm going to get curious and figure out how I can be more competent. I'll try to understand what the fuck's going on. Wizard, they can't get offended for giving bad advice. Insert rebuttal from them. But I gave good advice. They just don't understand. And I'm like, okay. Now, with my clients, that can break down a little bit because my clients can be very much in denial, but I can tell. They're very much in denial. And I'm like, okay, I am actually giving them good advice. Because not only has it worked for me, but I'm not even focusing on nuanced situations. I'm focusing on like core things. That has worked. There's empirical evidence that works, even anecdotal evidence that works. And they are just being dismissive of everything. Brandon, you don't fall into that category. You're considering what they're saying. You're trying it. It doesn't work for you. The fact that you tried it is already amazing. I've dealt with clients who are like, I'm not going to try it even once because I don't think it'll work. And I'm like, bro, you didn't even try. What the fuck do you expect? How do you expect what I'm trying to encourage you to do to even work if you don't even try it? Like, what are we doing here? It's like someone saying samurai style sucks. And I'm like, why? Because... And then they don't even know how to key pulse. And I'm like, wait. I'm like, come on. Like, come on. Oh my god. Samurai style is trash. I'm like, why? I'm like, did you even play samurai style? I did. And do you know how to key pulse? No, but it sucks. So I don't even need to learn it. I'm like, oh my god. Anyway. There's more for me what I don't keep you. All right. So here's what's gonna happen. I need to go help Cass with the online groceries. And then when I get back, I wanted to address the other question that I know, what's his face? I think 12-7 has been waiting for. All right, Wizard, you have a good night. So yeah. So I'll be back in about 5 or 10 minutes. The only thing I can ask if I needed is a therapist, I would say go for it, yeah. I see a therapist. I see 2 of them. I would say if you're unable to manage your emotions, or if you just need help, go ask a therapist. Yeah, I do. They'll probably be better at it than I am, to be honest. They can give you more of that long-term help. Yeah, I see 2 therapists. I have a cognitive behavioral therapist for a lot of present things, and I haven't needed them as much more recently. But they is certainly helping. And then I also have a therapist that does EMDR. It sounds really fancy. EMDR. EMDR is eye movement and desensitization reprocessing. It sounds really like psychobabble, but the idea behind it, that from what I've understood, is because like I have PTSD, by the way. I got like officially diagnosed. Cass has been known it for a while, but I got it officially diagnosed. And what it helps me do is bring out certain traumas that I have that are really influencing me and the way that I feel and sometimes the things that I do. But the idea with it, like, if you were to see it on the outside, it looks kind of weird, where it's like, okay, bro, you're like tracking something with your eyes. That's kind of strange, which it kind of is. But the purpose of it to me makes sense, which is like we're trying to keep our brain not entirely flashing back into the past and like reliving it 100%. We're trying to bring that out by like using our eyes and our brain to like focus on some stuff a little bit, and not be stuck in a trance, in the hopes that like you can talk about it with a therapist and work through it. So that's been very helpful for me to connect a lot more dots about why I do what I do. And so yeah, I found it incredibly valuable. So yeah, it's not a distraction. It's very clearly, it's not meant to be a distraction. It's meant to keep me, I'm trying to be rooted in the present and be aware of the past. It's at the same time. So it's cognitively a little difficult, but it's, I've gotten better with it. So what the actual effect for me is when I'm thinking about past events, I can speak about it more from a place just being very mindful, as opposed to like reliving it all over again and like having everything emotionally like be intense. This way, it's like, okay, I have one foot in the present, one foot in the past. And it's not like, oh, like for example, the danger could be, oh, I relive something super traumatic and like it just stays stuck with me for like a week. And it's just like I'm reliving it over and over again. They obviously don't want to do that. It's the point is, oh, I want to be able to bring it up and process it so it can just vanish. And it's nice, I'll tell you that. But yeah, I would of course encourage anybody who's having struggles with their self-esteem in some way, shape, or form. Um, you can get a therapist. Obviously, if you want to work with me, that's a separate story. But obviously, a therapist is a safer bet than me. But all right, I need to go help Cass. I'll be back, and then I'm gonna get back to 12-7's situation. Okay, what's going on? All right. I'm so thirsty, my goodness. Okay. See what's going on real quick. All right, so 12-7, you hear? All right, so you had some questions. I think it was about like a 5-year relationship or something. So what's up? How can I help you? While you're typing that up, I think it's interesting for me that right now when I look at my view count, it's like really abysmal. It's like 10 on YouTube and 6 on Twitch, which is fine. But like I've only thought about it now on a break, but the entire time I was just so focused on just all this shit. Pretty interesting. And that's just a credit to say how much I enjoy this stuff. Sort of. So yeah, 5-year relationship ended 6 months ago. Yeah. Okay. And ended due to my own fault. I told a white lie before we got together. And then when I admitted it, she started doubting a lot more. I never helped her through these doubts. I went stone cold. Okay. Okay. I already see the problem. Stop showing love or compassion because I felt like one white lie shouldn't have made her doubt me as a whole person. Okay. I already see why she left you, bro. I'm sorry. But go on. But I appreciate the honesty. That actually makes it a lot easier. But yeah, so I'm just listening or waiting. I just feel very selfish, but when confronted with the idea that something will end, I let the other person try to fix it because that way I get to feel wanted. You know it's toxic? Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's very manipulative, dude. Oh, because you don't share my perspective on these things, I'm going to withdraw affection until you cater and sacrifice your own feet. I mean, I'm not saying you said this, but this is the message that can effectively communicate it is, yeah, your thoughts and feelings don't matter. And until you agree with me, you're not getting anything from me. That's very manipulative, my man. And I'm like, yeah, she's gonna end the relationship at some point. Not that I do it consciously. Yeah, okay, yeah. It's usually not like I would hope it's not intentional from people to do it. I myself have been manipulative and dismissive, so um, that's like I've been that way too. So, which is why I got divorced. Like I said, emotionally abusive. So I never did a lot of the toxic things that I did willingly. It was I was blind to it. It was very subconscious. So yeah, a lot of problems with that. So I recognize that I'm glad that you're at least cognizant of these things. You're cognizant that, hey, I do toxic shit, but I can't really help. I'm trying to figure out how to get out of it, is what I would hope where you'd be at. So I hear all this, and I'm still confused as to what your question is. What can I do specifically to help? Because you already have some awareness, which is good. Okay. So 12, I think that's great. I think recognizing that you have a problem is obviously a good thing because, oh my gosh, half the battle with some of my clients is just like getting them to admit they're the problem. So it's just that if I try to fix everything, then I feel like I'm the only one trying. Okay. So what's your question? Because so far, what you're saying is very common for me to deal with at work. I'm not sure what my question is, honestly. I haven't really spoke about it with anyone. I just feel like shit, I miss her. I just don't feel like I deserve her, though, so it's just sort of crap. Well, I'll be very upfront with you. Well, yeah, it makes sense why you don't feel like you deserve her. Because you've acknowledged, hey, I do toxic shit. You recognize, hey, I'm not, my competency ain't that great. So of course you feel bad about yourself, your self-esteem is lower. So what we need to do, if anything, is increase your competence so that it doesn't even come into question whether you deserve her or not. So what is it that you want? I take it you want her back? It's usually what I help my clients with. You want to reconcile with her because you were with her for 5 years, you know you did wrong, you want to make it better again? She wants nothing to do with you, that type of deal? I mean, is it that? Is it I want to feel better? I want to do better? Like, I need some direction. I want her back. I really don't think it's possible, though. We're no contact by her choice, and it'd be scummy to force my way back in somehow. I don't think what I want is fair. Okay. You realize I'm the guy who got divorced. Cass and I were long distance, no contact for many, many months. I mean, she blocked me. She blocked me by her choice. And still to this day, like, she doesn't want to be in a romantic relationship with me, which is, like, I don't really bat an eye towards. But that's me personally, but I've helped clients reconcile. And no one thinks it's possible. That's so common. Everybody in, like, my line of work, everyone in my line of work is like, no, it's not possible. Everybody, even prospective clients, are like, I don't think it's possible. They never think it's possible. They don't believe it's possible. But here's the thing, and I'll just like it's not a guarantee. Like, here's the thing. Here's the reality of it. There's obviously no guarantee she'll come back to you. There never is. In the same way, there's no real guarantee in life, as much as I want to think. I have no idea what's going to happen tomorrow. I don't know if my words are going to 100% necessarily resonate with you. I'm missing so much data. I'm not talking to a person. I'm talking to text and then trying to conjure an image of who I'm talking to. People can lie to me. I mean, the world can end, so on and whatever. The thing is, though, what my goal is for my clients is not to necessarily guarantee them reconciliation. I can never 100% do that. But honestly, like, that doesn't stop the successes from happening in my line of work either. My focus is on them creating such amazing self-esteem that they'll win in some way, that they'll be super happy with. And more often than not in my work, it means, yes, they reconcile every time. Think about it. A guy went, I don't know if you were here earlier, there was a guy who went to prison for having sexual relations with a minor, his stepdaughter. He went to prison for it. His wife did a total U-turn off over several years and was basically trying to lobby for the judge to like, hey, he's a changed man. This guy's interviews on public on YouTube from my previous employer. And like, he's in prison now. And like, I remember last time I checked, and like, of course, he's on the sex offender registry. His wife went from obviously hating him to being like, no, he's so different. So there's that. Obviously with me, Cass and I, like, we're not a romantic reconciliation, but we're best friends again. It's fun. Like, she was just asking me before I went to go put away some groceries with her about like, yeah, so how's your stream going? I'm like, oh man, it's so packed. Like, no one asked me any questions beforehand, but like, I'll tell you all about it later. You know, there's that. And like, we had a conversation, we played Path of Exile together. Like, it's fun. It's good. It's what it's what it used to be like, and it's just gonna get more fun over time. I've helped couples through how does the so yeah, I've helped clients like this. Now, to your next question, how does the first step in that scenario even happen though? So I would focus less on whether she reaches out or not. That is a secondary concern. The bigger concern is whether you have actually changed. So for example, let's say you still have the same toxic tendencies that you recognize fuck things over. In your opinion, would it matter when she reaches out if that hasn't changed? Simple yes or no question. Right, exactly. No. So that's the thing. What I try to help my clients do is basically heal themselves, grow their self-esteem in relationships so high so that when their former partners or their exes reaches out again, at some point inevitably, whether it is 6 months, a year, 2 years, whatever, they'll be like, holy shit, this person is so fucking different. Not that I want to get back with them, but I'm curious, what's this person like? I'm curious and I'm willing to entertain them for a little bit more of time. Like with Cass, like she was curious, I think she blocked me back in September of 2022. And I think she reached out to me late March, early April. It was like 6 months. Other people, it's like a year and a half. It depends on the severity of the damage they've done. So, but within the first 5 minutes, she's like, whoa, you are not what I expected. And then she's like, she was only going to talk to me for 15 minutes. And then we spoke for 3 hours the first time. And then we started speaking like every few days. And then it was started to gradually accelerate to the point that now I speak to her every day, like every hour. I mean, I live with her now as a roommate, mind you, but she feels comfortable enough. So with my clients, I don't work with couples typically. I work with people like yourself who've been like, fuck, I fucked up the relationship. You're actually ahead of some of my clients where they recognize, shit, I fucked up and I need to fix me. So I work with the client who's been left and I help them grow a ton. Now, right now, When it comes to contact, no contact, let's not worry about that shit. That is so secondary. We just need to help you fix your shit so that you don't have to worry about being toxic again. And you can be more understanding, and you can be more loving, and more and build up a lot of emotional safety in between you and her. Focus on that. That's the priority. Once you have created an enormous amount of change in yourself, and what I tell my clients is then we can start thinking about, hey, you can reach out to her. And we can kind of go from there. And yes, your partner's not going to believe your change. That's so common. Yes, your partner is probably not going to want to talk to you. Understandable. But let's be understanding about that and give safety anyway. Because that's just what we do. We're the type of people who want to make our partners feel very safe, very understood, very loved, very cared for, no matter what they say to us. No matter, especially considering we fucking hurt them. We'll take accountability, etc. We'll fix ourselves. We'll do better every day. And that's just who we are. And we do that regardless of whether they choose to be with us or not. And that's it. And like, the rest takes care of itself. My former employer would say, hey, all we focus on doing at this work is grow to become irreplaceable, and the rest takes care of itself. Become the obvious, awesome choice that anyone would pick willingly. And surprise, surprise, partners come back. It's not like complicated. It's a simple thing, but it never feels easy for clients. Because there's a lot of emotional, like, it's a big emotional journey, and there's a lot of like demons people have to confront, and that can trigger a lot of things and can get complicated in that regard. I would certainly not say reaching out to couples therapy. She broke it off with you. She's not, it's over in that regard. Okay. I think it's wonderful that you got therapy. That's great. So yes, having that self-reflection and that self-awareness is great, and trying to figure out, hey, how can I better myself today? And then taking what you can, actions you can do to improve that will be helpful. Missing her or not missing her is kind of an independent variable in this regard. I miscast a lot, but the issue is less about whether I use that as an excuse to not work on myself, or whether, hey, I will. And I've told Cass very openly, I love her. I care for her. I would like a relationship with her at some future point. Now, even if that never happens, I'm still going to fix me because I got shit to fix. That's why I'm in therapy. I chose it. I'm not like, oh, I'm going to sign up for an EMDR therapist. At 12, you're fine. You're not unloading on me at this time. You're doing all right. We're just, it's okay. We're just having a conversation. But I didn't like join an EMDR therapist because I'm like, oh, if I join an EMDR therapist, then Cass will come back to me. Oh my God. I'm like, no, I'm going to EMDR therapy because I fucking need help. Plain and simple, with some of my own shit that I don't like. There's a lot of trauma in my system. I'm trying to get out. I got PTSD. Like, it doesn't help. I'm doing the change because I want to. Yeah, at first I just lay there growing mold, thinking if she comes back, then I'll change because she's a motivator. I'm glad that you caught that. You're a lot more self-aware than many of my clients are. So the thing is, right, let's bring this to another point. You've probably heard shit like, you've probably heard stuff like change for yourself, right? So let me, oops. Okay. This is something you probably, I don't know if you ever heard these words. Process outcome, you ever heard of those? Trust the process, for example. If that doesn't make sense to you, let me know. And I'll just change it to other words. Yeah, your self-reflection is a very good thing. Well, very good. Okay, you've heard of these. So, right. Let's put it in context of what you're talking about. In order to reestablish, you did basic psychology, so I should grasp this. Okay, all right. So there's outcome-based thinking and there's process-based thinking. So process-based thinking is more along the lines of the choices that we make, the behaviors that we do, kind of day-to-day types things. Outcomes are just like events that happen, or like, oh, I won $1 million this one day, right? Or like an achievement, so to speak. For anyone watching this in the context of Neo, my joy comes from not about, oh, I kicked a boss's ass, or I won. Like, that's an outcome, that's nice. But most of my joy, but I lose so much. So clearly it's not like if you think about the number of times I die in Neo, it's probably like 90% of any boss battle, for the most part, I fail. So if I'm just evaluating it in terms of outcomes and whether things are favorable, it's a net loss in terms of me winning. From an outcome perspective, I'm dying. I am failing constantly. I'm fucking up constantly. That isn't my focus. My focus is on the process of learning the game, of figuring cool shit out. That's the stuff I love. I'm like, oh yeah, Takeda Shingen, I was able to pull off Flowing Shadow and then get a deflect that felt so good. And then I don't remember if I won that battle or if I died. But honestly, it doesn't matter either way. I'm outcome independent. Now, you bet what happens is, as I get better and better at the process of playing Neo 2 and learning all that shit, yeah, I'll get my outcome eventually. But the outcome that I get feels so good and feels so earned. But, as you guys also know, from when I play Neo, sure, I did a kick-ass fight against, say, Takeda Shingen, for example. But how many times do I replay this shit? In the pursuit of learning more, of doing something cooler all the time, which is why I keep playing the game, even though the levels are the same, the boss stuff is the same. Anytime I can be like, oh, I can upgrade my process, so to speak, you bet I'm doing it. Hell yeah, even though on the surface everything seems the same. So in context, for you 12, for your own relationship, I'm glad that you recognize that, yeah, you're not going to do the things that you do because of her coming back. Because, right, she was with you for 5 years. But as you said, you were worse in pretty much every noticeable aspect, right? She was there, you felt no need to grow, you felt no need to change, you felt no need to improve yourself. But if you're doing as I try to do, which is I work on myself because I genuinely want to, independent of whether or not Cass comes back to me, then guess what? My growth is solid. It's stable. And come on, who doesn't like stability, right? Reliability in relationships, trust in relationships. It's someone you can trust. I'm pretty sure when people see me play Neo, they can generally be like, yeah, I think this guy really fucking likes the game. He keeps playing it and keeps getting excited by it. I think he genuinely likes what he's doing. Oh, and he makes guides for them too. I think this might be the guy to trust when it comes to Neo things. But if it was just like, oh, I beat the game, and then I moved on to a different game, and then a different game, it's a little harder for me to make the claim that, yeah, I totally love Neo. It's like the best game ever. Thank you, 12. I appreciate it. So, right. So, your goal is to work on yourself because you genuinely believe in it for your own purposes. Right. And the outcome that you will want will certainly change over time, too. Like mine does all the time. And even in a relationship, let's say, even in healthy relationships, what we want does change, does it not? We might think, hey, this is what we want for a relationship now. I might want this later. Or I might want this next. And that's okay. But if we just focus on growing for the sake of growing, fixing ourselves because we recognize we got problems in ourselves we need to fix no matter what, and then we just committed to that because it's just the right thing to do, it's a lot easier to trust somebody. And so that's what I would focus on first. And to keep doing the types of things it seems like you're doing. even though, so like, I had the choice, obviously, and this was an easy choice for me to make. So, let me answer your question for in a moment. I obviously moved back in with Cass. I could easily just say, well, I don't need to work on myself anymore. But if I don't believe in that, despite the fact I have toxic shit in that, then one, I'll revert. And second, it also would show to myself that I'm full of shit. That is all just a big ass lie. And it will come out. And the thing is, it's not like Cass trusted it immediately. Oh, you're different. I trust you now. No. It was like, I don't know. How long was it? She still doesn't trust me. I'll put it that way. It's been 4 years. She'll say I've changed, but I still don't trust you about these things. Even though you're showing it in the present, I do not trust you. And I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, well, all right. Our exes will be incredibly distrustful of us. They will make it fucking impossible. They will take away all hope for you. They will make it feel like, hey, you're not getting anything. They absolutely will do that. 100%. My clients, myself, I got divorced, bro. Divorced, blocked. Common, like, quote unquote wisdom would be, bro, it's fucking over. Don't even bother trying. And there's some like merit to what they're talking about, but it's not usually it's usually like, anyway, there's a bit more, there's more to dissect about that statement. But yeah, like, I had a very hopeless situation. Kicked out of the house, different states in America, didn't speak to her. So yeah, that was for many months. So on the surface, the outcome was taken away. So I had a choice to make. I remember I was like, well, okay, I'm finally divorced. This sucks. Feel like I've lost. But what are my choices? My choices are to seek another relationship. I'm like, well, no, I'm not gonna do that. I still have feelings for my now ex-wife. Still love and I care for her. And also, like, I'm kind of messed up, aren't I? Like, just stop now? That feels kind of wrong. So, outcome got taken away from me. So I was like, fuck it, I'm on this journey, let's go. I want to be better. I really want to be better. I hope it'll lead to something, but even if it doesn't, I'm still doing it anyway. I've had that commitment for like several years, and it's not going away. Cass still doesn't want to be in a romantic relationship with me, and I'm like, whoop-de fucking do, that does absolutely nothing for this. Sure, I might be a little sad, but I'm like, okay, I'm still gonna go fix me because I have shit to fix anyway. I still want to be a certain type of person. I still want to grow to be something, so I'm gonna do it anyway. Now, given I've been doing this and I've been coaching people for a while, like, I'm at the point where I don't really think about whether or not Cass will trust me. I'm like, I'm sure she will. I'm like Cass, the only thing when it comes to trust is I'm pretty sure Cass will trust me. It's not like an if question. It's more of like a question of when it's like, I'm like, I do the things that would actively make things better, and I'm very consistent about it, and I know that in my heart, and I demonstrate that with actual actions. So it's not just like I believe it fictitiously. It's like it's legit. There's evidence for it. So it'll just be a matter of time. Okay. The only thing I will get insecure about is whether I'm actually doing good things. So I focus on that. And then and anyway, it gets more complex for there, but it's like, Just do good things and make that a part of who I am. I ain't got shit to worry about. Okay. Cass will at some point trust me when she feels like it. And if she doesn't feel like it, that's her right. That's fine. Which, because I'm so comfortable with it, it helps make her feel more comfortable too. She's like, oh, I got nothing to worry about. Does she ever check out your streams? No, not really. But she's in the other room, so I just like tell her. I'm very open about it. Very open. I don't have to hide anything. Okay, so a question that you're asking 12 was when she came back. This sounds like a rom-com I would watch. Oh, thanks. It's maybe a rom-com now, but oh shit, it wasn't for a while. But when she came back, was it not really difficult for you to suppress excitement? That's separate though. Cass knows how I feel about her. She doesn't reciprocate. It's fine for you to be excited and have lovey-dovey hopes. It's just, what do you do with them? Are you trying to project them onto your ex when she doesn't reciprocate? Make her feel a certain way about you when she doesn't want to? Then yeah, that's a fucking problem. But yeah, like, Cass and I were recently talking about, like, future life goals, and she was talking about, like, getting married, and I was like, I'm like, given how I feel about you, I don't think it's appropriate for me to talk about marriage with you. Like, let me just leave that off aside and just focus on other life goals. And that's just me being, like, trying to be appropriate within boundaries and stuff like that. Because obviously I'm not going to talk about, like, hey, I know you don't feel for me, but let me talk about all my dreams when it comes to being married to you. I'm like, hell no. I'm like, I'm not going to do that. That doesn't feel right. I want to respect your boundaries, and anyway, the conversation went to a different place anyway. But yeah, my focus is about being just very giving in general. So for me, the feelings aren't the things I try to suppress. It's more of making sure my actions aren't problematic. I will definitely try to not only suppress bad behaviors, but I will actively try to do good things, obviously, instead. Well, we tried to be friends for a short while. She kept showing signs of love, asking to still say I love you, checking we were still exclusive and that I had announced the breakup. I mean, maybe so, but these are conversations to have with her after you've fixed your shit. So with those, I assume she wanted to get back together, but she wouldn't respond to further conversations about it. Confuse anger, resentful path. Yeah. That's because you didn't understand her perspective, did you? Do you understand why you're having the hot and cold behavior, so to speak? Do you feel like you would do the same as her? I'm guessing you don't, considering you were confused. Now I do, we weren't great at communicating. All right, let's see. Here's my understanding based on text. I wonder how much of this applies to her. I don't know if it does. My guess for her is that breaking up with you took a lot out of her. And it was a big part of her. And she didn't really want to do it, but she needed to for herself. And now that she made the step, it was like now reality was hitting her and all these emotions were coming out of her. And it was pretty painful. So, you know, a lot of hopes and dreams were crashed, and it's like dealing with withdrawal. Sometimes, and if it's a first big, yeah, okay. Now with the first big relationship, it's like, it's such a big change within 5 years, you know, to make. And it's hard, and it pulls at your heartstrings. But when she really thought about it and faced everything, she realized, no, I don't actually, I felt this way. And I expressed all that because I was feeling very vulnerable and kind of weak. But when I really think about what I'm actually gonna do, given all the shit I've had to go through, there's no fucking way I'm going back. I don't want to deal with it, and in fact, I think it's a bad idea. So I am out. Because my brain feels like fucking jello. Yeah, that was pretty much it. That's why I'm not going out to reach out myself, even if we're guaranteed to get her back. You reaching out, by the way, and getting her back is not a guarantee. I'd be shocked. I would say even if you are perfectly changed, like the most amazing thing ever, she'd be like, fuck you, I don't want to deal with you. Don't ever contact me again. My guess is she would block you. Even if you did the absolute perfect things. That doesn't change the nature of my work at all. The goal I would say for you, 12, is again, not to focus on contacting her or not contacting her. Is just change yourself. And do that day in and day out. The point isn't to get her back. To be honest, for all the sadness around the breakup. So, again, I feel like I'm getting a little sidetracked here. You were saying, hey, you want to get her back. Now I'm hearing, hey, here's a lot of these things about how I feel about these circumstances. What would you like me to do with this? Like, what can I give to you practically to help you? What clarity? What increased understanding? What practical steps? Because for me, like right now, it's just okay. Just you recognize you got problems, fix that shit first, and then we can worry about contact later. Like none of this will matter unless you change. If she doesn't see a change that she would find enticing. Oh, okay. I know what I need to do. You already said to trust the process. I just wanted to hear from someone with some weight behind them, you know? Fair, fair. Yeah, and whatever thoughts that you're having, as long as you can channel them towards you improving yourself, you're in good shape. If not, and if you're just going to keep stressing about and not actually growing yourself and working on yourself, oh, it's cool, 12. I didn't take it that way. I just wanted, when I say get sidetracked, I'm not like offended. I'm just like, wait, is this a productive use of both of our times? No, like, I can yap all day long. I'm known to yap, but I wanted to be useful for you. So, right, like, if you're having any stress or anxiety about certain things, as long as it's channeled towards you improving your own behavior, improving your own thinking so that it is supportive of your values and what you want for your life at large, then great. Here's the thing. In my line of work, the goal isn't about, hey, I want to have one guaranteed outcome. It's not really about that. Because it's not like life is particularly gonna do everything in one nice, neat way. But on some level, I don't think people really are looking for that. They'll have an idea of a particular outcome they want in mind. Let's put that here. They'll have an idea of a particular outcome that they want. They'll pretty much just be rigid and fixed. It has to go this exact way type of deal. All right. My goal is to help them create wins anywhere and everywhere. Or not like everywhere, but it's not just one, it's anything. So think about it. If my outcome goal was, okay, I want, like, think about how unrealistic this sounds and how anxiety provoking this would sound. All right, Cass wants to divorce me in 3 months. And now I've been kicked out 1 month in. I got 2 months. And my goal is to basically prevent us getting divorced. I got 2 months to do it. Pretty sure most people would say, bro, I think that's a bit unrealistic. You're gonna get divorced. Just fucking accept it. And usually, in my line of work, yeah, definitely a rom-com, right? Yeah, 2 months. Okay. All right. Like, it's just not fucking happening. And me trying to control and dictate the outcome go a certain way, that tendency to be controlling is why I'm facing with that situation in the first place. What I usually tell people is like, look, we are here to create long-term change. The minimum amount of time that people need is at minimum 6 months before your partner really can start trusting you again. But that's assuming you have been top-notch, and there's a very high bar for that, for like 6 months. Like, you are supremely permanently changed. Day in and day out, you're consistent about who this new person of you is. You're constantly growing, and it's just getting better and better for 6 months. And your partner is giving you basically total shit. Like, I don't want to see you. I don't want to deal with you. I'm still leaving you. I'm divorcing you. I don't care. I don't care. I'm never going to trust you. I don't love you. I hate you. I found somebody else. It doesn't matter. They would just do everything they can to make things hopeless. At a minimum 6 months, if you're flawless, they'll start to reconsider and start to think, oh, you've changed. In my case, it's taking a lot longer. But I'm like, whatever, it doesn't matter. But the thing is, if you're attached to just the process of growth and self-development, the outcome stuff doesn't matter anyway. And it doesn't really matter when you get them. It doesn't really matter. You'll get them eventually. But yeah, for me, Cass and I have been divorced for about 4 years now. Okay. Anyway, next, moving on. It's basically like I don't really care anymore. So to your point about what you're saying, the few people you spoke to will be like, poor 12, yeah. And I'm glad that you're saying, hey, I know my actions cause the consequences. Right. Exactly. You recognize that, so you're like, I'm not really the victim here. Which is good. But what I help my clients do is basically grow their process so much they don't even have to think about the outcome. Because they know on some level, yeah, I'll be fine. I keep doing what I'm doing and it'll work out in some way. I keep growing, it'll get better. I don't have to worry anymore. It's like the equivalent of, hey, I'm making so much money, I don't need to look at my bank account anymore because I already know no matter what, even if it's no matter what my bank account is at, I'll make so much money. It'll like, I just don't worry anymore. There's no point. It's just a waste of time. Like, think about it. Imagine if you made like millions of dollars every day. You're gonna think about looking at your bank account unless you're like spending billions. I imagine for most normal people, it's like, dude, if I'm making $1 million again, I will never need to worry about my bank account ever. Like, ever. Like, who cares? Oh, I overdraft and I'm at like negative $100. Well, who cares? I'll make $1 million tomorrow. Oh, like, it doesn't matter. That's the goal. So with me and Cass, my goal is simple. Create so much safety, I don't have to worry. Create so much trust, I don't have to worry. And then I can just keep doing that, and there's nothing to worry about. I just know it'll get better and better and better and better. So I never have to look again. So that's where all my stress goes towards, all my anxiety goes towards that. In the context of Neo, if I'm constantly learning things over and over again, and I keep learning things and keep figuring things out and channel my energy towards that, I don't have to worry about my skill level as Infernio. There's no need to look at it. Because I'm growing so much that I'll be fine. Gotcha. I think I've been so caught up in believing that my happiness chance for it is now in the past. That I've just had a depressive whatever attitude. Right, if you focus on the outcome of, oh, my happiness is contingent upon whether or not I get back with this person, well, guess what? That's out of your control. Right, relying on her to come back to me. Right. Right. I will be happy if she comes back to me. Well, spoiler alert, she's going to tell you a bajillion times I'm never coming back to you. Even if you change, and she'll probably say, even if you do change, I'm still not going to come back to you. I don't care. I give no fucks. In fact, I'm seeing somebody else. Leave me the fuck alone. Those moments will show her, are you actually changed? Because will you, when the outcome is taken away from you, will you keep growing anyway? Will you keep working on yourself anyway? Being more loving, caring, understanding, being somebody she can work with no matter what? Is that who you are? Is that how you operate across your life? If so, it's like, oh, maybe I was wrong about this person. That's once you can start to change things like confirmation bias against you. To be like, oh, this is not what I expected, and it's actually very pleasant. Right, and if you recognize you haven't been great as a person, you can also see the downside towards that. The reason that I was unhappy in my marriage is not because of cats. It's because I treated her poorly. Oh, well, gee, I did a shit job. Maybe I should start doing a good job. Maybe I should learn how to do a good job. Let me focus on that and grow my competence in relationships. And then I can feel good about it. And then I can actually have good. So one thing I want to actually bring up is something that you mentioned a bit earlier. Thank you, man. I feel hella better now. I believe it and I'll do it. I hope she's happy either way. I do feel really guilty about it, but I guess that doesn't matter super much now. If you're feeling guilty about it, you know what you can do? Hey, I feel bad that I did shitty things. And for that reason, I'm going to start working on doing good things. And every time I feel guilty about my past behavior, let that be a reminder of me needing to grow to do better things. You know what'll happen? As you keep doing better and better things and making things so much better, you know, the guilt will be resolved. You'll make the amends. I still feel bad about a lot of things I've done in the past, which is precisely why I try to do a lot of good things for her, because she deserves a lot of goodness. My way of demonstrating I care is about, hey, what can I do good for her? How can I make her life better? How can I help her find happiness? How can I empower her to be strong? How can I help her to, as Maslow's hierarchy of needs, how can I help her self-actualize? How can I help her get all of these for her? Whether she comes back to me or not is secondary. Even if I was still married to her, I would still do that. That is my focus. To satisfy this. So I definitely didn't do that before. I definitely was a bit shit in this department. Does the guilt get easier, honestly? Because the more I think about it, the more I feel my actions were wronger and wronger, maybe, and my acts didn't deserve it. The way I would worry less about the difficulty of the guilt, because sometimes I feel incredibly guilty and it's like really strong. But as I recognize, oh my god, it was so fucking terrible. it hurts a lot. I'm like, oh my God, I did such terrible things. Like so fucking terrible. And I'm ashamed of it. I hate myself for having have done that. And while I will be understanding about why I did it, I'm like, it's still no excuse. And for that reason, I need to do great things. The stronger the guilt, the stronger the desire to do good. I allow myself to feel bad about it. I'm not shying away from intense emotions, but I'm directing them to a healthy process. That's the key. If you feel really bad about the things that you do and you recognize they're fucking awful, because I did fucking awful things, like fucking awful things, and I'm like, yep, divorced like yesterday. No, Cass, you put up with too much. And I feel terrible that she was trapped in like basically her own like marital hell. Because of that, I try to do even more good. It's the whole like the intensity of the guilt is secondary. And I know that as long as I channel myself into the process of actually doing better, then yes, whatever guilt I have will eventually erode, but that's not really the point. The point isn't the outcome, so to speak, of feeling better. It's about, am I actually fucking doing better? Then I'll deserve to feel better if I'm actually doing a great job. If I could satisfy this at a great level, yeah, I'll feel good. And then that guilt doesn't like really, it's not necessary anymore. It'll just kind of evaporate on its own. But that's not the point. The point is I want to do good. I want to make it right. I created a lot of damage. I want to create a lot of healing and then go beyond that. I want to make things so good that the past is fortunately just a speed bump. It is a distant memory. Put another way, let's say you're starving, right? Starving obviously sucks, and we need to eat. But at some point, don't you think you'll stop worrying about it if you are getting banquet after banquet meal every fucking day? You know, at first you'd be like, hey, is this real? I don't know. Then if you are perpetually getting a banquet of the most amazing food you could crave, I'm pretty sure those fears you have, that stress you have over starvation will probably vanish. And if anything, you'll start to have a first world problem where you're like, hey man, I have so much food, I can't eat it all. Let me give it to other people. I feel guilty about having too much food. I want to share some. Your feelings get transformed. So just focus on this. One extra thing I wanted to mention was when you were saying, hey, what if I do all this work? I feel like, I think, let me quote you exactly. Let me get it. Where was it? Where was it? Okay, you said it's just that if, oh, caps lock. It's just that if I try to fix everything, then I feel like I'm the only one trying. So I can get rid of this. I distinctly remember you saying this. Okay, and I'll talk about this in a moment after I address what you're talking about. All right. Okay, I will. Hard to believe, honestly, at this point, but still. Yeah, that's normal. That's normal. But let's just think, it might be hard to feel it at this point, but let's just think about it logically a little bit. If you were to change dramatically and keep that up, because that's just who you are, to the point you never have to think about it anymore, or even the guilt. Let's take the guilt thing. If you did progressively more and more amazing things and built such an amazing life, beyond your wildest comprehension, perhaps, do you think you're going to worry that much about the guilt anymore? Or do you think, oh, it's resolved? And now, instead of feeling guilty about the past, I can focus more on enjoying the present and creating a better future every day. Or like with the whole meal example, if you were starving for a while and you're feeling the hunger pains for ages, and then all of a sudden you started getting banquet after banquet after banquet after banquet, a feast every meal. And the feasts were the most amazing feasts you've ever had. Do you think at some point that starvation, all the starvation pains you've had, and all the symptoms related to prolonged starvation, do you think they'll still stay there, or do you think they'll probably vanish? I think after some good amount of time, it'll settle down. Yeah, right. I do still want to know and see her happy one day, though, with or without me. Yeah. Now, bear in mind, I help people reconcile. But I think that's to get rid of my own feelings of guilt, so likely a selfish desire. Right. If you are waiting to feel less guilty by seeing her, again, that's outcome dependent. Right. I understand that my meal eating analogy was more outcome based. So it's not the best one-to-one thing. So we'll go back to the money thing. If you were bankrupt, but if you are eventually making millions of dollars a day, do you need to have your fears of bankruptcy anymore? No. You're making millions. It doesn't even matter how much money you really spend at that point. So in the same way, you upgrade your process so much that everything that you do makes things like, it's like you have the Midas touch. Everything turns to gold. Pretty sure you won't feel guilty anymore. You won't need to. And it's within your control. I'll tell you this. I still feel guilty about things even though I have Cass around. Even though after this, we're going to cook food or make dinner together at least. That's there. Now that guilt, rather than me being like, well, I don't have to feel bad because she's there. I'm like, no, I feel guilty about my past actions, which is why I'm going to do good actions. Because I care. Right. So I don't expect you to believe this 100%. All I ask is for you to just give it a shot and see how you feel from there. Just try it. Feeling bad about past shit, do good stuff. See if it helps you feel better in the moment. And in case your guilt comes back up again, try the same thing. Try doing good. Feel bad about past shit? Okay, therefore these are some specific things I can start doing good now. Practice that. Make that a part of who I am now. Try that out. See how you feel. When are these streams usually? 3 p.m. every Saturday. Yeah, 12 by all means. We can chat about it. If you have any struggles, by all means. Saturday, 3 p.m. Central for me, every week. But yeah, all you gotta do is try. That's all. Try it out, see how it works. Don't make the mistakes my clients sometimes have made, which is like, I'm not gonna even try it, and then I'm gonna complain that I have the same problem. And I'm like, but you didn't try it, bro. You didn't try it. Just try it. It's like going to the doctor. Hey, doc, I'm in severe pain. Doc gives you medicine. And then you come back to the doctor and you're like, I'm still feeling like shit. And it's like, did you use the medicine? No. And it's like, what the fuck's the point? You're supposed to take the medicine, bro. You can't complain that you still have this pain when you haven't even tried the medicine. If the medicine didn't work, I'd want to know so I can get you what you need appropriately. But I just need you to try, bro. Yeah, totally it's 12. This is what I do for work. Much more personal at work though, because I talk to people face to face. And I do charge for it with my typical clients. Saturday, those are just for free to the public. Because it's fun. One thing I wanted to touch for you was an interesting thing you mentioned about, hey, it's just that if I try to fix everything, then I feel like I'm the only one trying. I would say, here's the thing. Do you still have this concern, by the way? Your antidepressants at first took them for 2 days, then thought, boo, I'm not happy, then just left them in the cupboard. Yeah. By the way, even though I have like a bunch of disorders, I think just 2. One major one these days, but I don't take medication. But I have a medical condition separate from mental disorders. So I take medication for that because like I actually need to. But for any mental illness stuff, nope. So if you're ever curious about that, you can ask. But I'll just say, it's a lot easier to be happy when I can see what I'm doing actually is making a damn difference. Feels so good, dude. It's a fucking drug. Who would have thought? Doing good shit makes me feel good. It's sort of past, honestly. Looking back, she definitely put in the effort, just in a way that I didn't appreciate at the time or not in the way I wanted. Yeah, and I'll tell you this one thing as well. Just for future reference, it can be very tempting to be like, hey, I'm doing everything I can, the other person isn't. But what I've noticed from clients is then that can segue right away into blaming the other person. Right, it can lead us to blaming others. So let's take that earlier example that you had, right? So where was it? Look back. So where was it? Yeah, when you said I told a white lie before we got together. And when I admitted it, she started doubting a lot more. I never helped her through these doubts. I went stone cold, stopped showing love or compassion because it felt like one white lie shouldn't have made her doubt me as a person, right? Actually, I don't think this one applies to what I'm thinking about. I'll just have to make a scenario up then. But for example, okay, so I want your thing's a bit different than what I'm getting at. But I've had clients who've been like, oh, I'm doing all the fixing in the relationship, and they're not doing anything. Oh no, relationship won't get better. Or why isn't she trying? Right, but they'll say it rather not from a place of curiosity to really understand why isn't she trying, as opposed to like condemning, like, oh, she's not trying. She should do something too. And I'm like, bro, let's pause for a second and really just try to understand. Like, why isn't she trying, for example? And like, I'll give you and like, the whole like complaining about, oh no, I'm the only one doing everything. And no one else is doing anything. It's like, okay, sure. We can blame all of them, but we're effectively removing any responsibility upon us. There's nothing we can do. If, like, for example, if the fault really lies in the other person and they're not willing to change, what the fuck can you actually do? Okay, the other person is entirely responsible for everything. Okay, I got nothing to do. It's not me that's the problem. So if there's nothing within my control, then I can just sit here and twiddle my thumbs and do jack shit. So even though we want to improve something, we have no way of actually doing it. And if anything, our tendency to blame the other person will make it worse in a relationship. Hey, honey, the relationship problems are all your fault. They're all your fault. Yeah, that's going to make it worse. But in these situations, what I tell clients is like, look, let's genuinely try to understand her. What did she go through? What is it like for her? What have we done that made things worse? Let's figure out our shit. Sure, I'm sure your partner has done some bad things. But what about you? Let's focus on our share and what we can do to improve the situation. What we can do to make things better. The way we can make ourselves grow. And as you have discovered, if we can understand others first, just try to understand first as a default. Practice that. Then, one, we're making them feel emotionally safer, which is a good thing. And we're being a more understanding person. And if we're focused on our share of the problems and we fix those, here's what's going to happen. Okay? We create a positive impact on others. All right? Because obviously, what we do does impact other people. They do react to us in some way. Positive, negative, neutral, I don't know, but they react to us. When I say stuff to people in chat, chat responds in some capacity, or doesn't sometimes, but there is still a reaction. In relationships, what I do to my partner obviously has an impact on them, unless we're saying we're completely powerless and anything that we do or say has absolutely no functional value, which is a whole other problem to dissect in the first place. But what we did in the past did obviously have an impact towards the present. So in the same way, if we have a positive impact on others, you know what that usually does over a long period of time? To inspire them. It will inspire them. Like put it this way, if I'm perpetually nice and kind and caring and understanding to somebody, they'll probably reflect that at some point. And in a relationship where someone's already invested years of their life into you, oh my God, it's like an oasis in a desert type feeling. It's like, whoa, I'm getting what I've always wanted. And every time like I engage with this person, I'm feeling better and better. And they're being really nice to me and they're being really good to me. Consistently, even though I doubted them like forever. This is just who they are, you know? Maybe I'll kind of be nice to them too. And you know what that does? If someone's nice, you know what's really nice if someone's nice to us? Or actually, you know what's really nice? When someone's nice to us. You know what we usually like to do? Usually like to be nice back to them. And then they're like, wow, this person was nice. Okay, I'll be nice to them. And you're like, oh, that person was so nice to me. I'll be nice to them. And it just bounces off back and forth. And things get easier and easier over time. I'm trying to be really nice to Cass. Because I like to be. That's just who I am. I focus on this part. Just positive impact. How can I do that? Positive impact, non-fucking stop. So yeah, Cass is nice to me. She's done sweet things like bring me hot chocolate out of nowhere. Or like get dinner for me. Or say really nice things about me. Or whatever. It just happens. So obviously when I see that, I'm very touched by it. I'm like, wow, that's so sweet. I want to be nice to you too. Make your life easier. I want to make your life comfortable. And it just goes back and forth. And all it takes to start this chain of events is just us shifting what we do. Sure, we feel this way, we think this way, but instead of blaming others and be like, oh, they're the problem, fuck that. Let's focus on doing this. We can be the leaders to make a big difference. Seems like a winning proposition to me. You're telling me all I gotta do is fix my shit and be nice to others, and then eventually others will be nice to me? Okay. Great. To put a humorous spin onto it, imagine if I was to start complaining about, oh my gosh, people aren't watching my Neo 3 videos. Wah, I'm not as popular as other content creators. Oh my god. It's not me that's the problem. It's all these other people. I can make all these Neo 3 videos, but no one will ever watch them. Because whatever dumb reason I want to insert here. Or I could be like, bro, really? You haven't made the Neo 3 Academy? Which is what people want from you. Do that. They'll watch your stuff. Okay. Not that I think that, but just as an example. So what do? Just have the positive impact on the Neo community. Wow. So complicated. But yeah. I hope some of that stuff 12 can be of extra help to you. Holy shit, it's almost 7 o'clock, dude. Dude, I had no prepared questions in advance. No one asked me any questions in advance. And yet, it's been nearly 4 hours, bro. Oh my god. Oh my god. Massive honesty, thank you. Brother, it's 1 a.m. here. Yo, I need to go. I gotta have dinner. But anyway. Time flies when you're having fun. Yeah, right, Triggy? Yeah, this is, so I gotta wrap this up, of course. But yeah, now you guys have gotten kind of a snapshot of some of the work that I do with my clients. It's more along the lines of this, helping them to develop self-esteem. Yeah, take care, 12. So I'll just close out with this. This is part of what's involved with my work. So helping people, like here, this stuff helps with self-esteem at large and with relationships. So, you know, naturally I tackle both. So yeah, I would be happy to do this every Saturday. If it's popular enough, I'll create a second channel. But yeah, this is the type of stuff that I like to do. And if you want some help for free, by all means, just pop in every Saturday, 3 p.m. Central Time, and I'll be happy to do it. I will probably need to cut my streams a little shorter, but there's that. And for whatever reason, if you actually do want to hire me as a coach, I'm not expecting it. I'm not actually looking for too many clients. I just want to do part-time, and I have some already. But if you did want some like help, you can feel free to ask me about that. Just know that it's $100 a session. But yeah. So if that's of interest to you, you can always say, like, let me know, hit me up. But obviously, just want free stuff, just come on Saturdays and I'll just happily do this for free. But yeah, in any case, thank you guys so much for watching. And I hope to see you guys in another stream. Take care and bye.